Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Start with Eternal Mangekyo refuses to form a team with the school beauties. Chapter 76. Seeing that all 7 people who challenged Lin Ran fell to the ground, the freshmen in the audience felt an unreal trance. Is this the end? What the hell, it seems like it's only been more than a minute, right? Indeed, but the content is quite substantial. This is the first time I've seen Boss Lin Ran with all his firepower. Yes, even many of the methods passed by before I had time to see them clearly. For example, so far, we still don't know how Wu Wanyu fell to the ground with serious injuries. Maybe it's because you don't have enough knowledge in illusions, so you were instantly killed by the look, right? So, Lin Ran is too strong, right? Fire and melee combat are fierce in seconds, summoning flying arrows spells Qin Tian Lu Yuan in seconds, space manipulation Li Zan in seconds, thunder and lightning power in seconds, physical condensation Lin Zhaofan in seconds, illusion skills Wu Wanyu. This is all about defeating them at their strongest point. Killing people also kills the heart. Is this the real hexagonal warrior? It's really terrifying. And does anyone remember that Lin Ran's talent is a natural spirit that enhances physical strength and vitality? And his so-called human shield talent was not even hit by these 7 people. Quote. Looking at Lin Ran on the stage, it was as if he had accomplished a trivial task. The freshmen had a hard time swallowing their saliva. Among the old students on the stage, cheers of Ran Shen once again erupted. Those who cheered were naturally those from humble families. The top pick from a humble background was forced into a difficult situation by the 7 wealthy families and was finally slapped in the face. This is really more enjoyable than reading a cool article. Among them, there hasn't been a hero like Lin Ran for a long time. Ranshin. Quote. Listening to the enduring cheers, Lin Ran smiled and waved to the stage, then threw the dragon blade in his hand in front of Wan Mang. Your weapon is very useful, don't forget to put it away. Aren't you going to give up now? Although the injuries of the 7 people seemed to be quite tragic, Lin Ran did use some caution. Otherwise, given the current strength gap between the 2 sides, it would be easy for Lin Ran to kill them all at once. However, that would only lead to the strong intervention of the arena protection mechanism. That's why Lin Ran deliberately didn't consume their life force too much and created an opportunity to torture them for a while longer. Due to the multiple effects of fear, terror and pain, the faces of Lu Yuan and others were already pale. Admit defeat. We admit defeat. As their words rang out, the ring announcement also came out at the same time. Hey, the winner has been decided. The winner of this arena is Lin Ran. After hearing the official announcement from the arena, the poor disciples on the stage cheered again. Ranshin. Quote. As for the freshmen in the audience, they did not join in the carnival. After all, they are in the same class as Lin Ran, and they are competitors. In the face of Lin Ran's unfathomable strength, in addition to awe, he felt more unwilling and disappointed. Why is it that the hero who is so admired by everyone on the stage is not me? Among the students of the same class, Lin Ran, a figure like the sun, appears. The light of these tiny morning stars may be completely obscured. Lin Ran looked at the 7 people who were shrouded in green light and sent to the audience for treatment. He stretched leisurely and glanced at the audience. Who else wants to challenge? All the freshmen lowered their heads involuntarily in the direction Lin Ran glanced at. Joke. Even the 7 top-ranked special recruits were brutally beaten together. Who else would dare to go up and seek bad luck? At this time, Lin Miao quietly touched Luo Chinan's side and whispered to Luo Chinan. Luo Chinan showed an expression of surprise at first, then relief, and finally nodded with a smile. Then, Luo Chinan jumped onto the ring with a graceful backflip, and raised a hand in the air full of energy. I come. After Lin Ran saw the person clearly, his face twisted. What are you here for? Luo Chinan walked up to Lin Ran with a smile, helped him straighten his somewhat messy clothes, and then punched Lin Ran in the chest. Of course I'm going to hit you. Huh, weren't you very arrogant just now? Come on, I'll take care of you. Lin Ran rolled his eyes and was about to say something when he suddenly received an email from Luo Chinan in the biochip. Sister Miao asked me to have a fight with you and show my strength as much as possible. In this way, their boss, who is the president of Yan University, can officially stand up and let us put his name on it. Moreover, it can also provide a special prize for both of us. I heard it is quite precious. Well, we need to stop everyone's questioning of Yu. After all, in the face of absolute strength, their protests are naturally ineffective. Lin Ran sighed. Come on then, but I have to say it in advance. If you cry when I beat you, I won't be responsible. Luo Chinan snorted coldly, raised her hand and took out a lightsaber. It's not certain who will cry and who will cry. Just let me die and that's it. As he spoke, a rich and blazing holy light erupted from Luo Chinan's body. The intensity of this energy density shocked all 7 people in the audience. Why is it that after being beaten violently by a monster, another monster comes out? With this level of energy fluctuations, if you say you are a 4th level awakener, some people will believe it. I guess even if Luo Chinan faced the 7 of them, she would be able to defeat them easily, right? These 2 people are messing around, they really don't follow the basic laws at all. Seeing that Luo Chinan had already prepared a fighting position, Lin Ran's face turned grim. Eternal Mangekyo, the royal gate behind it, and the room area of Op Fruit were all launched at the first time. The onlookers were also a little overwhelmed by this sudden turn of events. What's going on here? Are the 2 of you going to fight? Then, why does their declaration of war sound so flirtatious? No doubt, they may have made this dumpling just because of this jealousy. Hey, I'm so sad. Why didn't such a perfect life template as Lin Ran fall on me? Indeed, I am just a pickled fish, sour, vegetable and superfluous. Lin Miao's quickly ran to the sidelines at this time, clapped his hands and said. Okay, then, our freshman challenge continues. The current number 2 on the list, Luo Chinan, will fight against the current number 1 on the list, Lin Ran. Countdown, start. Considering that this was an exhibition match that served as a deterrent, Lin Ran was not prepared to hold back too much. Anyway, Luo Chinan, who possesses the heart of an epic angel, is also outstanding in terms of resistance and recovery. She also has the holy light armor and the divine protection body. Her skin is very strong, and her resistance level is definitely one of the best. As the countdown gradually approaches, Lin Ran's momentum is getting higher and higher. As for Luo Chinan's side, it was pretty much the same. She also has a strong understanding of Lin Ran's strength. She knows that no matter how hard she tries, it may be a luxury to hope to severely injure Lin Ran. However, she has always wanted to understand the gap between herself and Lin Ran head-on. Luo Chinan knew that with Lin Ran's extremely perverted talent, it would definitely be a matter of time for him to stand at the top of the world in the future. And all she can do is to be her own good wife and try not to hold Lin Ran back as much as possible. Even if what you are chasing is a night sky that will never end, you should at least turn it into a bright flowing fire and add an unforgettable flame tail to the night sky. Although she is a holy angel, from the first moment she was rescued by Lin Ran has been the only light in her heart. Holy light armor, holy blessing, hymn of courage, angel wings, holy blessing, heavenly glow, honor barrier, holy technique, divine light of creation. Luo Chinan shook off the random thoughts in her mind and muttered something, but in the blink of an eye, she gave herself a bunch of buffs. Compared to the last battle in Black Dragon Abyss, there is an additional holy light armor that once again strengthens physical defense. It seems that Luo Chinan has been studying secret techniques non-stop these days. The little girl works really hard. Lin Ran smiled slightly and opened up his room area without reservation. 2, 1, start. As the last command was issued, Luo Chinan immediately attacked Lin Ran from the air with her wings waving at a speed that ordinary people could not catch. Starfire Curse Blade. With the blessing of many buffs, the pressure of the holy light on Luo Chinan's body had expanded to an extremely terrifying level. Even the spectators around her who were affected by her began to tremble involuntarily. However, Lin Ran, who was the direct target of her attack, seemed unaffected by it. If other people knew this, Lin Ran would have to use Hollow to hide for a while. But facing Luo Chinan, Lin Ran finally had a rather interesting idea. Room High Frequency Scalpel. Lin Ran took out an alloy tang knife, but pointed the bladed side at himself. Then, under the horrified eyes of everyone, Lin Ran was split into 2 right in the middle. Not to mention the onlookers, even Luo Chinan, who was on the battlefield, was shocked. His sword has clearly not fallen yet, how did he do it? But let's not forget that Lin Ran's two halves, split into two, or really just him. One on the left and one on the right, he dodged Luo Chinan's powerful and heavy sword. Then, the two halves of the body that were originally separated miraculously reunited in the air. While Lin Ran injected the knight's ability to survive with bare hands into the Tang Dao, he activated the wind step skill attached to his arcane dagger. In terms of speed, if he didn't use Op Fruit's space displacement and Kamui's distance teleportation, Lin Ran would still be unable to match Luo Chinan. After all, he has wings and a buff that greatly increases his movement speed. How can he run with just his legs? But such a sudden stealth back attack prevented Luo Chinan's speed advantage from being fully utilized. By the time Luo Chinan turned around, Lin Ran's Tang Dao had already struck her slender neck. Luo Chinan quickly sheathed her sword to block. But the ordinary alloy tang knife in Lin Ran's hand was like cutting through tofu, cutting through her lightsaber, dissolving her holy light armor, sacred protection and honor barrier, and directly swept across her neck. But the strange thing is that this Tang sword did not leave any scars on Luo Chinan's body, but passed directly through her body, as if it was nothing at all. The only thing that can prove the existence of Tang Dao is the slightest bit of coldness you feel when it cuts across your neck. In other words, on the real battlefield, he has actually died once. Luo Chinan's beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Lin Ran's power once again far exceeded her expectations. Lin Ran smiled playfully, imitating her appearance when she appeared on the stage, doing a backflip to the rear and waving to Luo Chinan. Luo Chinan's face tilted, and the hand holding the lightsaber trembled slightly. Angel's true form. At her call, the huge angel's glow took shape and enveloped her inside. Lin Ran laughed. It's just Gundam. Who doesn't have one? Susanoo. Under the control of Lin Ran, Eternal Mangekyo, the blue skeleton that instantly killed the Dark Elf leader Gaidan that day also appeared again. One blue and one gold on both sides, facing each other across the platform. It is really spectacular. This strange sight almost dropped the jaws of the audience. This, fast forward to the Gundam fight stage. Could it be that Lin Ran still retained his strength when he fought against those 7 people? It seems so, and there are quite a few retained. A large frame similar to a Gundam, weird body splitting, and missing invisibility skills. How many of these alone are there? Not to mention the sword that cut through everything just now and was completely unhindered. According to my estimation, if Luo Chinan didn't have some heaven-defying means of saving her life, her head would have been cut off with that sword. Guigi, why do you hit women so hard? Ah, Lin Ran probably knows that Luo Chinan can handle it, otherwise he definitely won't. Maybe. Looking at these 2 extremely majestic Gundams on and off the stage, they were a bit at a loss what to say. Lin Ran smiled. Then, Chinan, you should have had enough trouble. This is the last sword I give you. Destroy everything. As he spoke, the energy sword in Susanoo's hand suddenly erupted with extremely exaggerated fluctuations, and a raging sword energy swept out. Luo Chinan refused to give in. Holy technique Final Light. The equally powerful light cannon was also fired from her hand, directly facing Lin Ran's destruction son Luo. At the intersection of the light cannon, an exciting and roaring energy explosion suddenly swept across the entire arena. If it were not for the barrier protection provided by the arena, I am afraid that the onlookers would also be affected by them. This is the fight between gods. Compared with the duel between them, those battles between gods and gods just now were like children playing house. Is this the Ranshin with full power? There should be a limit to pervert. Full fire. He only saw the arrival of the true god. Such outrageous fighting power, if not a god, what else could it be? I have decided. Ranshin will be my spiritual leader from now on. I will take Ranshin as my goal and work hard. At least, you should be able to smell a little bit of Ranshin's exhaust. A senior student said that he should use a freshman as a role model. This was originally a very funny thing. But in front of this passionate roarer who looked like a brainless fan of Lin Ran, no one laughed out loud. Whether it is Lin Ran or Luo Chinan, their dominance seems to be better than those of them, old students who have been at Yanda for several years. Although I don't want to admit it, the reality is so cruel. Finally, When the smoke on the stage cleared, the results of the exchange of luminous cannons were revealed. There is a saying that since ancient times, you have lost to the left side of the wave. This time is no exception. Luo Chinan, who was on the left, saw the angel's true body being washed away by energy and looking dilapidated, looking crumbling. Lin Ran's Susan on the right did not suffer even the slightest bit of damage. I lost. I am convinced. Luo Chinan raised her hand to take back her angelic form, and sighed at Lin Ran. Lin Ran also took back Susan and walked to her side with a smile. Hey, didn't I say that? As long as I'm here, you just need to be a good sweetheart. There's no need to work so hard. Isn't it nice to just lie in my arms and moan? Be good. After all, I am Lin Ran. Luo Chinan blushed. This guy is teasing himself again with what he said. But unfortunately, she quite liked this. However, Luo Chinan thought so in her heart, but did not say so in her mouth. HMPH, wait, sooner or later I have to push you to the ground and beat you. Lin Ran spread his hands helplessly. Okay, then I'll wait. Just as the two of them were spreading dog food in front of countless people, a burst of old and hearty laughter came from afar. With these two people in our Yan University, we can guarantee that we will be safe in this year's competition. Come on, kids, let me take a good look at you. Everyone followed the sound and saw an old man in white clothes, white hair and white beard, coming through the air. It's Principal Ma. The sharp-eyed students immediately discovered the identity of the visitor. Many people, including Lao Sheng, took a breath of cold air. Did this freshman competition actually cause such a big sensation? Even Principal Ma is here. The principal of Yan University, whose original name is Matt, is not to mention that he is in the Dragon Kingdom. Even if you look at the entire Blue Star, it is still a famous existence. The main reason is that he is a genuine 10th level awakened person, and he is infinitely close to the peak of the 10th level awakened person. In terms of individual combat power, they are among the best in the world. Moreover, Matt has been in charge of YSU for almost 500 years. He is quite amiable and has high prestige in the school. Even the children of wealthy families respect him very much. After all, if the entire family of this wealthy family is tied up, they may not be the opponent of his old man alone. Seeing Matt coming forward, almost all the freshmen became excited. In the midst of everyone's attention, Matt landed beside Luo Chinan and Lin ran out of thin air, and smiled at them. Good, very good, excellent. Considering the gap in strength between you two and other freshmen, the school has decided not to include you two in our 5 major departments. You will be named directly under my name. Starting from today, Yan University will establish a new department, the Chaos Department, and I will be the director of the department. This year, the Chaos Department will temporarily enroll 2 people, namely Lin Ran and Luo Chinan. As soon as Matt came up, he didn't say any nonsense and directly broke the news. Although this makes Lin Ran and Luo Chinan extremely special, and they will obviously receive special treatment. However, no one came up to question it. After all, that was Matt, hero of the Dragon Kingdom. That day, in a large space-time rift, one man fought off 100,000 foreign troops, forcibly secured a city in the Dragon Kingdom, and saved millions of people. His deeds are still vivid in his mind. He is the strongest person in the Dragon Kingdom in the hearts of countless people. In addition, the strength displayed by Lin Ran and Luo Chinan is indeed terrifying. No matter who they face, they can show an absolute crushing force. To be taught by Matt himself. Although many people are so sore that their teeth are about to fall out, they still can only recognize it by pinching their noses. Seeing that none of the freshmen and old students present raised any objections, Matt laughed again. Okay, since no one objects, then the matter is settled. It just so happens that you two are still ranked 1st or 2nd in this competition. I'm here to give you your rewards first. By the way, here's a little entrance gift. After all, you two can be considered the originators of my chaos system. If the chaos system wants to flourish in the future, it still depends on you. With that said, Matt turned over his hands and took out 2 thick stacks of redemption coupons like a magic trick, and gave 1 stack to each of Lin Ran and Luo Chinan. Chu Feng and the others should have enough magic equipment for you. I believe you won't be in short supply. These are some basic treasures of heaven and earth and exchange coupons for one-time props. Just accept them. The freshmen next to them almost had their eyes popped out. Isn't this too heroic? There is no need to count the stack of exchange coupons, at least there are hundreds of them. The rewards for these 2 places are a bit outrageous, aren't they? Before they could get over their surprise, Matt took out 3 more fruits with his backhand. 1 gold, 1 black, 1 colorful. Qingyan has the heart of an angel, I won't give it to anyone else. These 2 are the epic level holy fruit of light and the forbidden fruit of darkness, please accept them. They can help you develop your own natural abilities, and the effect is quite outstanding. With that said, Matt put these 2 fruits into Luo Qingyan's hands. Lin Ran on the side couldn't help but take a look at the properties of these 2 fruits. Bright holy fruit. Category: heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Special. Quality: epic. Effect of taking: it greatly helps the user to develop the sacred and light talents, and can make the level of low-level talents evolve upward, and the high-level talents can be further sublimated. Dark forbidden fruit. Category: heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Special. Quality: epic. Effect of taking: it greatly helps the user to develop curse and darkness talents, and can make the level of low-level talents evolve upward, and the high-level talents can be further sublimated. Question mark. Lin Ran glanced at Matt curiously. Even if he gave Luo Qingyan the holy fruit of light, how did he give him this forbidden fruit of darkness? It's outrageous. However, Matt had no intention of explaining, and stuffed another colorful fruit to Lin Ran. You only have 1 boy. So, I have slightly improved the quality of this fruit. Lin Ran looked at the fruit in his hand and felt thousands of waves in his heart. Natural spirit fruit. Category: heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Special. Quality: legend. Effect of taking: it greatly helps the user to develop logia and recovery talents, and can make the level of low-level talents evolve upward, and the high-level talents can be further sublimated. Although he only got 1, the value of this natural spirit fruit is probably far greater than the 2 of Luo Qingyan's. This is a legendary special type of heavenly material and earthly treasure. An existence that can directly strengthen the power of talent. Its preciousness cannot be measured by conventional value at all. Without the experience of fighting bloody battles in deep cracks or in other worlds, it is simply impossible to obtain this kind of treasure. Even if it is bartering, it is difficult to find a market. After all, the quality of legendary level may be 10 times that of epic. Lin Ran believes that as long as he takes this fruit, his natural spiritual talent will be greatly strengthened. His vitality and physical strength will also increase further, reaching an extremely pervert level. Come on, don't be in a hurry to enjoy the fruit. You can go back and eat it slowly. Follow me first. Oh, that's right, Chu Feng, the 5 of you can continue to organize the freshman competition. I will take these 2 people away. The rankings of the top 2 are already determined anyway, so it doesn't matter much if you take the first step. After the competition is over, you can go directly to the branch division ceremony. After speaking, Matt waved his hand, carrying a strong yet gentle energy, taking Lin Ran and Luo Qingyan into the sky and flying towards his residence. Looking at the 3 Matts walking away leisurely, the freshmen on the field couldn't help but feel bitter. Is this the strength of the 2 of them? Principal Ma personally received the apprentices, divided them into separate departments, gave them valuable gifts, and even took them away to teach them in advance. There is no way, who will let people have that capital? If you can defeat 7 top-ranked special admission students at the same time, you can too. Pull him down and ask me to beat up 7 special admission students. I've been beaten up by 7 special admission students, so that's enough. It feels like just 1 Lu Yuan, a wave of cold wind comes down, and I have already sent it. Then you still talk about a hammer. The 7 Lu Yuan people who were still receiving treatment in the green light had also been silenced. They finally recognized the reality. That is, Lin Ran is an unscalable peak for them at this time. If you want to regain face, you must first improve yourself as much as possible. Realm and cultivation become more and more difficult to improve as time goes by. Lin Ran will encounter a bottleneck sooner or later. By that time, the growth rate of Lin Ran's combat power will gradually slow down, and they will have a chance to win. In any case, with the backing of their family, they have no shortage of basic resources. At this time, there was only 1 person in the entire arena with an earth-colored face. This person is naturally Xu Zheng, the second eldest son of the Xu family in Jiangdong. He is different from Lu Yuan and others. People like Lu Yuan just had a little friction with Lin Ran, not a deep hatred. But he had basically offended Lin Ran to death. Not to mention, Lin Ran has a pretty good relationship with his biological brother, Xu Sheng. It is very likely that in the future, he will side with Xu Sheng in the dispute over the head of the Xu family. Once such a terrifying person becomes an opponent, it will be hard to sleep at night. If I don't think of a way to break the deadlock as soon as possible, the only thing waiting for me in the future is death. Thinking of this, Xu Zheng's face showed a fierce and decisive look. How is it? The environment here is pretty good, right? Matt brought Lin Ran and Luo Chinan into his residence with a smile, and proudly showed off his various collections. It has to be said that he does stand out here as a man of great wealth and magnanimity. The crystals used for decoration are sealed with a dazzling array of rare and exotic fruits, each with extraordinary properties. The life essence contained in those unnamed flowers, plants and trees is not even weaker than that of Lin Ran. The animal skins under their feet and the animal bones placed casually, even though they had been dead for many years and all their flesh and blood were gone, still retained a deep pressure. One can imagine how terrifying they were when they were alive. And inside the house, there are various high-level ferocious beast cubs that have been tamed and made soul contracts scattered around. There is even an ice crystal phoenix whose rank is about to break 7. Seeing Lin Ran and Luo Chinan who were completely dazzled, Matt felt even more proud. He took out a small teapot and poured a cup of tea for each of them. Actually, these are just the tip of the iceberg in my collection. Thinking back to when I was young, all the resources I earned could only be described as a mountain of resources. Oops, the topic has gone too far. Come on, let's drink tea first. This tea is also soaked in the original liquid of life. It will also be of great benefit to improving your physique. Lin Ran took a sip of tea and remembered the email Gao Xian had given him before he came. The boss is usually a heartless old naughty boy. You don't need to be nervous. Only when fighting or planning, he is the unparalleled hero of the Dragon Kingdom. Besides, he has a great career, so if he gives you any benefits, just accept them, but don't be polite. So Lin Ran put down the teacup and sighed. Good tea. Matt is even happier. Hey, no one has been qualified to enter my house for many years, let alone someone with such taste as you. Last time, it was Chu Feng and the other 5. It's a pity that those 5 children thought the tea I made tasted terrible. Do you think it's irritating or not? Luo Chinan blinked curiously. Principal Ma, are there any prerequisites for entering your room? Matt laughed. You mean entering this house? Well, at the very least, it must be the kind of genius who can single-handedly sweep the entire class, plus the old students from the past. Leap-level battles are a common occurrence. There are endless secret techniques but they are at best guaranteed. Chu Feng and the others can only be considered so-so, barely qualified. You two are far better than them. By the way, you also join the 5 of them and call me boss. I like that title. Lin Ran wondered. So, how many people have been involved in this since you became the principal? Matt touched his beard, shook his head and said. On average, 1 in 50 years. Chu Feng and the others are exceptions, those years were an unprecedented event. In other words, even if Lu Chufeng and the other 5 are included, there are only a dozen or so Yan Tianzhao people currently recognized by Matt. Seeing that both of them looked thoughtful, Matt smiled and said. However, among these people, you are indeed the most outstanding existence. Especially you, Lin Ran. Your achievements in the future may be far greater than mine. Put these 3 books away. They are all the secrets of each talent holder. It took me a lot of effort to compile it. Lin Ran and Luo Chinan looked at the 3 booklets. The names have been marked by Matt in advance, and they read, Natural Spirit, Holy Angel, and Fallen Angel, respectively. Fallen Angel. Lin Ran immediately noticed the existence of this anomaly. Luo Chinan looked at Matt helplessly, her face full of embarrassment that her secret had been revealed. Although Luo Chinan had vaguely guessed that this would happen from the moment Matt gave him the dark forbidden fruit. Matt laughed when he saw this. You can hide it from others, how can you hide it from me? Don't be nervous, twin talents are not a dirty secret. Besides, Lin Ran is not an outsider either. Lin Ran was full of surprise and glanced at Luo Chinan next to her. Twin talents. You actually have twin talents. Luo Chinan sighed. Yes, actually, there are two different kinds of innate energy in my body. One is the SSS level talent Holy Angel of the Sacred System, and the other is the SSS level talent Fallen Angel of the Dark System. It's just that I've never used Fallen Angels before. Recalling the previous battle with Luo Chinan, Lin Ran's face twisted. Then why don't you use it? It's not like you're still retaining your strength when facing me, right? Luo Chinan glanced at Lin Ran angrily. You think I am your pervert? What you worry about in a fight is never that you will die, but rather how to avoid beating the opponent to death. I didn't want to keep it myself, okay. Mainly because my current second talent, Fallen Angel, is temporarily inactive, so I can't use it even if I want to. Matt nodded. The owners of twin talents are like this. They will only activate the first talent first. As for the second talent, it usually requires special props. I can only say that twin talents are not particularly rare. What is strange is that someone can actually awaken two twin talents who are both SSS level. Moreover, these two SSS level twin talents perfectly match your bloodline ability Angel Soul, and have been greatly enhanced again. In addition, Holy Angels and Fallen Angels can still cooperate with each other, and the effect of cooperation is quite significant. I can only describe this kind of luck as heaven-defying. The odds are definitely not greater than winning 10 lottery draws in a row. Or it's much smaller. I'm afraid that since the birth of the Awakened, no one has had such good luck. Lin Ran took a breath. Is this such an exaggeration? Qingyan is really the daughter of God. Matt glanced at Lin Ran again and snorted. Versailles, right. You are just calling a hammer, aren't you more exaggerated? When it comes to being blessed by heaven, who can compare with you? The degree of pervert of your bloodline ability is completely unheard of in the entire history of Blue Star. The level of outrageousness is beyond the limit of my imagination. Not to mention other people. But this can be regarded as your secret. I don't want to explore it. Just be responsible and protect yourself. Hearing what Matt said, Lin Ran could only laugh twice. I can definitely protect myself. Boss, please rest assured. Matt nodded with satisfaction. Okay, since you said so, I won't say any more. I think the method you are so confident in must be similar to the one used to avoid the attack of the light of the silver moon and the wind and tide. The method of temporarily leaving the plane is a bit invincible. However, I have one more thing to warn you. Your bloodline ability is indeed exaggerated, but don't waste your talent development because of this. If the talent of the natural spirit body can be fully developed, it will be quite terrifying. This is why I gave you the natural spirit fruit. As for Qingyan, your fighting skills are mainly based on your two talents. The holy fruit of light can greatly increase your affinity with the power of holy light. The forbidden fruit of darkness can directly help you awaken your second talent and greatly improve it. You can just take it when you go back. Lin Ran and Luo Chinan both nodded. Thank you, boss. Matt smiled again. Okay, old man, I won't waste your time anymore, go back. This house has been open to both of you. You can come over anytime you want. If you like something here, you can always talk to me. But we must also be careful not to be gluttonous. Otherwise, the effect of the medicine may be counterproductive if it is not evaporated through cultivation in the body. Come, let me give you a ride. As he spoke, regardless of whether Lin Ran and Luo Chinan were ready or not, with a wave of his hand, their figures flashed to the foot of the hilltop house. It's the power of space again. Luo Chinan couldn't help but sigh. Lin Ran touched his chin. If I remember correctly, shouldn't the boss's talent be declared as the energy of chaos? How can he fly in the air and manipulate space at the same time? Luo Chinan hummed and smiled. Why, you are only allowed to set fires, but the boss is not allowed to light lamps. Your talent is still the natural spirit body. Where do you get so many fancy offensive methods? Huh. Lin Ran laughed. Let's go. Go home. I can't wait to go back and eat this natural spiritual fruit. I think you should also plan to go back soon and awaken your second talent, right? Change the topic again. Luo Chinan grunted dissatisfiedly, took out a capsule from her pocket, threw it on the ground and turned it into a suspended car. While opening the cockpit door, he gestured to Lin Ran and wiped his neck. Don't use your special ability to touch my steering wheel, accelerator and brake again. Otherwise, I will throw you into the lake to feed the fish. Lin Ran rolled his eyes and whispered. That's better than a car hitting a wall, taking off, and ending up hanging in a tree, right? Luo Chinan raised her eyebrows and said displeased ly. What did you say? Lin Ran sighed. I said you were right. I am very honored to ride in your car. After all, it will give me a pure and refreshing feeling. Luo Chinan relaxed her pretty face and pressed the speaker proudly. Hey, that's pretty much it. Let's go. I'll take you with me for a while. After a while, Lin Ran, who was stunned by Luo Chinan, finally returned to the twin villa. Lin Ran, who was naturally worried and flexible, didn't care about complaining. He quickly pushed open the door and entered the practice room of the villa. Luo Chinan is probably also preparing to take the holy fruit of light and the forbidden fruit of darkness, so she doesn't need to worry about it for the time being. Lin Ran held this legendary natural spirit fruit in his hand and communicated with it in his mind. The Natural Spirit Body training manual given by Matt also mentioned relevant information about taking the natural spirit fruit. The first thing he has to do is to use his own talent to absorb the outer skin of this spiritual fruit. Because it is 100% consistent with the natural spiritual fruit, Lin Ran's communication is very smooth. Soon, the skin of the natural spirit fruit, which was originally about the size of a basketball, began to scatter into powder and absorbed on Lin Ran's body. During this process, Lin Ran could clearly feel that the various qualities of his body were constantly improving. In particular, the endless vitality brought by his gifted natural spirit body is even more active. Not long after, this natural spirit fruit shed all its outer skin, leaving only an egg-sized pulp. Lin Ran didn't hesitate, and according to his guidance, he swallowed the pulp in one gulp. The next moment, a surge of vitality exploded in Lin Ran's body. Generally speaking, life force is a fairly gentle existence and is not likely to hurt people at all. But maybe it was because the reserve of this vitality was so huge that Lin Ran felt like he was swallowing a ball of fire into his belly. Moreover, Lin Ran's internal organs and limbs were also stretched to the point of feeling a little uncomfortable. If Lin Ran hadn't been strong enough, he might have opened his mouth and vomited. Hold on. This is the critical moment for digesting natural energy, so you must not slack off. Even if 1% of this legendary special type of heavenly material and earthly treasure is wasted, it will be a huge loss. With Lin Ran's desperate patience, this life force finally stopped its constant expansion and began to integrate into Lin Ran's body parts. Click, 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 click. Under the rampage of this vitality, Lin Ran's bones made bursts of crisp sounds and began to become crystal clear. Lin Ran's skin, flesh and blood also had 7-colored glow flowing faintly. He didn't know how long he had been tortured by this energy before Lin Ran woke up from this strange growth activity. After taking a look at himself in the mirror, Lin Ran was surprised to find that his body had become much fairer. However, the angular muscles have not weakened at all, but are even more explosive. The endless vitality of life in his body, as well as his increased perception of all natural elements, all prove one thing. That is, Lin Ran has changed again. The most intuitive feeling is that the increase in vitality brought to him by the natural spirit body has soared from more than 10 times to more than 30 times. The attribute of affinity to natural elements, which was originally only able to improve resistance, finally exerted some of its effects. For example, Lin Ran can communicate with the grass element in the vegetation, the wind element in the breeze, and the water element in the trickle to gain additional perception and intelligence. This feeling is as comfortable as being one with the whole nature. At the same time, Lin Ran's full attributes have been fully sublimated under the influence of natural spiritual fruits on the body. For example, his combat effectiveness has once again made a leap. Name: Lin Ran. Gender: male. Current status: citizen of Dragon Kingdom, 3077th Special Admissions Class of Qingjing Yanyan University Chaos Department. Identity code 306002290000083561. Awakened level 1. Combat power 12,796. Executor level A. Military rank First Class Sergeant. Hunting point 23,768.5. Military merit points 17456.8. This fruit will directly increase Lin Ran's combat power from the original 8,790 to the current 12,796. At this time, he had already had the opportunity to pass the second-level Awakener trial. As long as you pass, you can officially become a second-level awakened person. With his current strength, if he wanted to crush Lu Yuan's 7 people, he would probably be able to do it easily with just a few rounds of Wang Kai's volleys. Moreover, Lin Ran currently has nearly 100 gold-level Tiansai Debao redemption coupons in his hands, all of which were given by Matt before. If you eat these treasures of heaven and earth, your combat effectiveness can be further improved. But this time, there is no need to exchange them all for heavenly materials and earthly treasures that increase the upper limit of mana. As for blue power consumption, Lin Ran has basically achieved unlimited battery life, so there won't be too much of it for the time being. Pulling up all attributes is the correct solution. After thinking about what to do, Lin Ran took a deep breath, walked outside the practice room, and took a look at the scene outside the window. Good guy, I didn't expect that I had meditated for so long. It was already dark outside. Looking at the time display in the biochip, it was already 9:30. So, what's going on with Luo Chinan? Lin Ran originally just wanted to stand by the window and look around, but he didn't expect that in front of the passage connecting the 2 twin villas on the first floor, Luo Chinan's door was actually open. What are you waiting for? Just go in and take a look. Lin Ran didn't hesitate for even a second, then followed the passage and got into Luo Chinan's villa. Logically speaking, Luo Chinan's training room should also be on the first floor. I just don't know if she will choose to take it in the practice room. The structure of the twin villas is basically based on the relative structure. Lin Ran quickly found Luo Chinan's practice room. When I looked inside, I saw an astonishing sight. Luo Chinan, who had 2 black wings on her back, was leaning on a recliner, her whole body shimmering with lavender energy fluctuations. At this time, perhaps due to the influence of the fallen angel's talent, Luo Chinan's eyes turned into a seductive burgundy color. Coupled with that lazy expression, world-weary eyes, pretty crimson lips, arrogant temperament and half-exposed shoulders, Lin Ran almost gave out a nosebleed. Well, you're here. I just finished absorbing those 2 fruits, and I'm still a little unclear. Come on, give me a hand. In the hoarse and magnetic voice, Luo Chinan adjusted her sitting posture a little more elegantly, staring straight at Lin Ran, her pretty face blushing slightly. Obviously, looking at Lin Ran's unblinking gaze and swallowing of saliva, Luo Chinan knew how seductive the posture she just held was. Lin Ran took a deep breath, shook his head to wake himself up, then walked to Luo Chinan and picked her up. Unexpectedly, Luo Chinan's feet suddenly softened and she fell straight into Lin Ran's arms. Feeling the fragrance in her arms and the softness in front of her, Lin Ran felt hot unconsciously. Luo Chinan put on a charming smile and reached out to touch Lin Ran's face. Help me lie down for a while, okay. As soon as he was infected by this orchid, serene and charming breath, Lin Ran completely lost his mind. He picked up Luo Chinan by accident and walked towards the bedroom upstairs. Luo Chinan leaned against Lin Ran's hard chest and kept stroking Lin Ran's body with her fingers. At this time, her pretty face was red with embarrassment, and her heart was as wild as a deer. If she hadn't awakened her fallen angel talent today and was somewhat infected by the evil charm of this talent, she would definitely not be so courageous. Moreover, the darkness and heat brought by the fallen angel also greatly affected her state of mind. Now it seems that Lin Ran has also been infected by himself. So it didn't take long for Luo Chinan to be thrown onto the bed by Lin Ran, and she felt Lin Ran's unique roughness. Showering. Well, early next morning. By the time Lin Ran woke up, it was already 3 o'clock in the morning. Glancing at Luo Chinan who was still sleeping like a kitten next to her, Lin Ran smiled softly, tucked her into bed, got out of bed and put on her clothes. This little girl really put herself through a lot of trouble last night. That is to say, my natural spirit body has given me strong physical strength and recovery power. Otherwise, whether I could get out of bed today would be a serious problem. But having said that, Lin Ran really had a great time last night. Luo Chinan now has 3 different forms. They are the pure, lovely, and lively initial form, the bright, holy, and inviolable sacred angel form, and the evil, seductive, and charming fallen angel form. So, Lin Ran came here last night to catch one fish and eat 3 meals. So until now, my mind is a little dizzy. After simply preparing some food, Lin Ran called Luo Chinan up for breakfast. Luo Chinan seemed a little not sober now, but after recalling all the charming things last night, her whole face turned red. Why did he act so boldly last night as if he was drunk? In order to ease the embarrassment, Luo Chinan had no choice but to speak first. Ah, what? I just took a look. There is a class around 2 o'clock this afternoon. It's Sister Meow's. We'd better go. It's getting late now. Let's go straight away after eating. Because of the privileges Matt granted the duo, they were able to take only a portion of the courses taught by the department chair. There is no need to go to those ordinary teachers' instructional classes, practical classes, and practice classes. Moreover, they can all attend the special classes held by the 5 department heads once a week, and the treatment is extremely generous. After all, Yan University has already divided all the students according to departments. Even if it is a special enrollment, ordinary teachers cannot miss the courses for no reason. Only Lin Ran could only attend these 5 special classes, or even skip them. Because the extremely special chaos system they were in did not have any courses arranged in the students' curriculum. Go ahead, you can still get 20 credits after taking this kind of class, why not take it? By the way, I still have some things to do, Lin Ran said casually while eating the food in his mouth. In fact, he was still thinking about going out later and exchanging his vouchers, hunting points, and military points for natural treasures, one-time props, etc., to increase his combat power and enrich his family. By the way, I gave my 2nd-level awakened person a trial. The reserve of props is also an indicator of the overall strength of an awakened person. After all, if there are 2 awakened people with completely unequal amounts of props, the rich person can completely kill the other person by relying on various offensive props thrown out infinitely. And the struggle that person makes will be offset by defensive props. Not to mention puppet-type props that can be summoned for combat, potion-type props that provide additional buffs and battery life, etc. This is also the reason why children from wealthy families are often able to crush children from poor families. People can beat you to death with money, so how can you compare with them? Moreover, the children of wealthy families can often use the various natural and earthly treasures provided by their families to gain additional strength and raise their talent levels to at least B-level peaks. That is to say, it is relatively fair on campus. The use of props is not allowed in the arena. If you use props in the trial competition, a certain amount of points will be deducted. Although the deduction is not much, it also limits the number of props that can be used to a certain extent. If it's outside the campus, then of course there's no need to mention it. All I can say is that the reality is really cruel. This is also the reason why it is so difficult for a child from a poor family to get ahead. Luo Chinan didn't think too much. Yeah, me too. Now my combat power is about to reach the level of a 3rd-level awakener. I haven't passed the 2nd-level trial yet. Is that true? Lin Ran rolled his eyes at the side. Luo Chinan's combat power expanded at an outrageous rate, much faster than him. There's nothing we can do about it. After all, Luo Chinan's strength basically comes from her talent. Lin Ran, on the other hand, comes from various abilities granted by the fishing system, and is not counted in combat power. This also resulted in Lin Ran's actual combat power being far greater than the value of his displayed combat power. This day is the official first day of school at Yanda. It can be clearly seen that there are many more people on the road coming and going. Therefore, Luo Chinan's reckless driving skills on the road will definitely not work. Otherwise, we would not even be able to reach the classroom, and at least dozens of people and cars would have to fly. Lin Ran could only return to his old profession. Use op fruit to secretly manipulate and take over Luo Chinan's command. With the increase in strength, Lin Ran's control over op fruit has also become much higher. For example, Luo Chinan, whose combat power was much higher than him at this time, looked happy and did not realize that Lin Ran was secretly causing trouble. Of course, this may also be related to Lin Ran's lack of control over Luo Chinan. Lin Ran only ensured that she would not hit anything, and did not limit her running speed and madness. This made Luo Chinan startle many people along the way, making them want to curse loudly. But when they saw the people on the floating car, they all lost their temper. After the trials and battles of the freshman competition, the names of Lin Ran and Luo Chinan became famous throughout Yan University. Many old students don't dare to provoke them at all because they think they are not strong enough, let alone the freshmen. Soon, after completing a series of operations, Luo Chinan drove Lin Ran to the classroom. Lin Ran and Luo Chinan both spent a lot of exchange coupons, hunting points and military merit points in exchange for props that satisfied them. By the way, the two of them also went to the assessment point during this period, and with the power of a storm, they directly penetrated the upgraded copy of the second-level Awakener. Lin Ran still remembers the dull face of the inspector responsible for the inspection after he pushed down the boss within 1 minute without using the puppet provided inside the dungeon. Sister Miao. Luo Chinan jumped out of the car and immediately saw Lin Miao standing at the door of the classroom, and greeted her excitedly. Lin Miaoke was really Luo Chinan's mentor. She single-handedly transformed Luo Chinan from an ignorant little girl into a fierce and fearless Valkyrie. After Lin Miao saw the two of them, she also smiled and waved to Lin Ran and Luo Chinan. Shaoran, Chinan, you are here too. The special courses offered by the heads of the 5 major departments are only open to the top 500 students in their grade. After all, a normal classroom at Yanda can only accommodate 500 people. If you want to obtain training secrets and unknown information that cannot be found on the internet, higher course credit rewards, and even additional awards favored by the department head, you must first work hard to improve your ranking. Okay. Otherwise, you will not be eligible to enter at all. The students who were walking in and out trembled in their hearts after noticing the figures of Lin Ran and Lin Ran. Even though they had already entered the top 500, when facing Lin Ran and Luo Chinan, they felt helpless in their hearts. The gap in every aspect is huge. Lin Ran asked Lin Miao. Sister Miao, what exactly is our special course going to cover? Lin Miao held a stack of information and smiled mysteriously. You'll know in a moment. Anyway, it's definitely worth the money. You guys go ahead and find a seat and sit wherever you like, the class will start soon. Luo Chinan nodded with a smile, said goodbye to Lin Miao, and pulled Lin Ran into the classroom. At this time, most of the seats in the classroom were occupied, leaving only a few seats in the front row free. Lin Ran could only follow Luo Chinan and walked all the way to the front row. The two of them attracted almost all the attention of the class. They looked at Lin Ran and Luo Chinan with complicated expressions, but they didn't know what their expressions were. For many children from wealthy families, this is simply something that was unimaginable before. When had they ever been hung over their heads by a poor family member? Simply outrageous. Just after the two sat down in the front row, a familiar figure groped over. Immediately afterwards, Lin Ran saw his signature sunny smile. Brother Lin, you're welcome and safe. Lin Ran rolled his eyes. It's only been a day, okay. Xu Sheng laughed, and then his expression turned cold. He came close to Lin Ran and whispered in a voice that only the three of him could hear. My brother Xu Zheng is likely to be unfavorable to you in the near future. Lin Ran raised his eyebrows. What? Xu Sheng continued. Do you still remember that day in Black Dragon Abyss? Xu Zheng was rude to you, and then you threatened him. From then on, he hated you. And now, he regards you as my henchman. With Xu Zheng's cruel methods, it is impossible to sit back and watch this terrible threat of yours continue to develop. He will definitely try his best to either prevent you from being his enemy forever, or he will let you die silently. Hearing this, Lin Ran's eyes gradually turned cold. Oh, does he have that strength? Xu Sheng shook his head, but nodded again. He definitely doesn't have it himself. But the Jiangdong Shu family does. So Brother Lin, you must be careful these days. If you don't mind, I am willing to provide Brother Lin with 2 bodyguards from the Jiangdong Shu family, both with the strength of a 7th level awakened person. Although it's not particularly high, it should be barely enough to deal with secret plots. Lin Ran immediately shook his head. Brother Shu, it's not necessary. I appreciate your kindness, but you allow me to refuse this escort. Xu Sheng was stunned and said hurriedly. But Lin Ran waved his hand. Don't worry, Brother Shu. I don't deserve to take this kind of plan to heart by a young person. Xu Sheng looked at Lin Ran again and nodded helplessly. Brother Lin, take care. After saying that, he left the front row. Luo Chinan turned to look at Lin Ran. You doubt him? Lin Ran pulled Luo Chinan and sat down on the seat. Sure, I began to doubt him from the moment he deliberately approached me in the conference room that day. After all, he is suspected of deliberately using me as a shield and deliberately provoking conflicts between me and Xu Zheng. Of course I can't bear the protection he promised. Luo Chinan laughed. I didn't expect you to be quite cautious. You should be suspicious of such a seemingly loyal and honest person. Lin Ran sighed, touched Luo Chinan's head and said. You can't tell people by their appearance. Not to mention, you must be on guard against others. After all, apart from you, there is really no one in this world who can gain all my trust. Luo Chinan's pretty face immediately turned red, and she punched Lin Ran as if ashamed. At this time, with the crisp ringing of the bell, Lin Miao walked straight from the back to the podium in front. After a brief self-introduction, the course began. I have to say that Lin Miao's class was really rewarding. Although what I talked about was basically theory, it did gain a lot of knowledge. For example, things that need to be paid attention to in the 5 forbidden areas near Qingjing, techniques and methods to fight against various alien races and ferocious beasts, the current situation of the entire Blue Star, and so on. Among them, Lin Ran learned that the current situation of Long Kingdom was not very good. One of the reasons is that the Dragon Kingdom has a vast territory, and there are too many forbidden areas for ferocious beasts, natural secrets, and time and space rifts. In addition, the entire human camp is not monolithic at present. At that time, when ferocious beasts and alien races were most rampant, the countries on Blue Star could still maintain one heart and one mind. But with the rise of human beings, and gradually entering a stalemate with ferocious beasts and aliens, many countries began to fight against each other. As one of the 5 most powerful countries in the world, the Dragon Kingdom has naturally become the object of resentment in many countries due to its power and glory. For example, Asan Country in the southwest, Sakura Flower Country in the east, and Lighthouse Country on the other side of the ocean, etc. These countries are always stumbling upon the Dragon Kingdom openly or covertly. Their obstruction, coupled with the threat of ferocious beasts and alien races, has made the current situation in the Dragon Kingdom quite tense. Even to describe it as perilous is not an exaggeration. At the end, Lin Miao also gave a special instruction. The reason why I tell you this is to help you develop a sense of crisis. As the strongest students from the best university in Dragon Kingdom, I hope you can withstand the test of actual combat. For example, when there are no classes on the weekends, go to the shallow areas of the major forbidden areas for a walk and explore. Although that may result in injury or death, but given our current situation, it is only a matter of time before we experience danger. After class, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan said goodbye to Lin Miao and came to the corridor outside. Call. Is this college life? I'm still a little uncomfortable with it. Luo Chinan looked at Lin Ran and smiled. Lin Ran nodded. But you still have to adapt, right? Then, let the roulette of time keep spinning. 1 month later. Ding. The fishing system reminds you that prey has been hooked. Please return to the pond to deal with it in time and start the next fishing. Lin Ran had just finished a day of training and was lying in the bathtub taking a bath when he suddenly received such a message. Lin Ran immediately became energetic and immediately dived into his spiritual space. The interval this time is a bit long. Walking to the familiar fishing rod, Lin Ran gently mentioned it, and an inexplicable energy penetrated directly into Lin Ran's body. Ding! Fishing in the heavens is successful. Congratulations to host for getting the product, Marine 6 Styles Perfect Mature Version. Marine 6 Styles. Lin Ran's eyes lit up immediately. This thing is quite useful. Although among the 6 moves, there are several skills that are not of great significance to Lin Ran. For example, Paper Arts enhances dodge, and Iron Body enhances defense. Lin Ran's defensive methods are, to be honest, pervert enough. These 2 skills can only be called the icing on the cake. But the other skills of the 6 styles are just a help in times of need. First of all, it can be used for high-speed shaving. Currently, one of Lin Ran's major weaknesses is that his movement speed under normal conditions is not enough. For example, Luo Chinan, who had buffed herself and opened her wings, could easily crush him in terms of speed. Lin Ran's methods of spatial transfer and spatial replacement consume a lot of mana, and the swing of his skills is not low. After all, he is not that easy to use. But with Xiao, Lin Ran's movement speed can be greatly compensated. This special method of moving and exerting force will definitely give those who underestimate his speed a big surprise. As for its other method, moonwalk, can provide the ability to stay in the air and fly, similar to the infinite double jump, and is also quite easy to use. Lin Ran has been envious of Luo Chinan's flying wings and Mat's ability to fly in the air for a long time, and today he finally gained the ability to have similar effects. The remaining finger pistol and tempest kick are equivalent to giving Lin Ran another physical attack method. It also makes up for a blank area currently occupied by Lin Ran. Moreover, these two things, one relying on the hands and the other relying on the feet, can suddenly explode without any weapons. If you use the high-speed movement brought by Xiao in Moonwalk, you will definitely catch the enemy by surprise. Now when facing a small number of enemies, I finally don't have to use such a powerful skill as Wang Kai at every turn. Moreover, the 6 postures obtained by Lin Ran are still a perfect and mature version. This means that he can exert the strongest effect of the 6 forms without further development and master all the derivative skills that can be used in the 6 forms. The only thing that affects the power of the 6 styles is his physical fitness. Lin Ran, who was extremely excited, tested each of them in his consciousness space at that time. Once again, the big tree trunk by the pond was shattered into pieces and tree debris flew everywhere. It's so useful. Lin Ran was more satisfied with each of these major methods than the last. It seems that the improvement in this month is really huge. During this month, Lin Ran could be said to have lived a boring life of cultivation. Take theoretical classes, take genetic modification fluids, eat all the treasures exchanged for heaven, materials and earth, go to slaughter the ferocious beasts in the 5 surrounding forbidden areas on weekends, and stay in bed with Luo Chinan at night to work overtime. Although it is as plain as water, the harvest is real. For example, his current combat effectiveness has been further improved and has reached around 15,000 points. Luo Chinan, who was training with him, had a combat strength close to 20,000. And at the end of this month, there is a product of Zudian fishing system, Marine 6 styles as a reward, so comfortable. After Lin Ran completed all the tests and became proficient in the application of the 6 movements, he threw the fishing rod into the pool again and exited the spiritual space. Tomorrow is the weekend again, how should we arrange it? Do you want to go deeper into the forbidden area? Having been at Yan University for so long, he and Luo Chinan had never gotten too deep into the forbidden area. If they want to go, they have Kamui to protect them anyway, so the beasts can't do anything to them. Just when Lin Ran was hesitating, a communication request was suddenly sent. Lin Ran glanced quickly. ? Why is she calling now? However, the communication request did not include video anyway, so there was no need to worry about the exposure of privacy, so Lin Ran accepted it directly. Xiao Ran, do you still remember the last battle in Black Dragon Abyss? Lin Miao's voice immediately sounded from the biochip. Lin Ran didn't expect that Lin Miao would ask such an idiotic question as soon as he came up, so he could only roll his eyes and said, I must remember. How long has passed? How could I be so forgetful? Lin Miao seemed to realize that her question was stupid, so she smiled and said, then, it seems that the military has obtained some new information about the Dark Elves through the interception of intelligence. I would like to invite you and Qingyan to come over and talk about it. It seems that I plan to arrange some tasks for you. It is said that the rewards are generous and it is an urgent task. After all, you two are very strong and work well together. Secondly, he is also the only person who has dealt with the Dark Elf leader. He should be familiar with the various plans of the Dark Elf. I wonder what you think. Lin Ran rolled his eyes, smiled and said, then go. Anyway, we both plan to go out during this period to continue practical training, so we could just help them out. As for Qingyan, let me do the talking. Lin Miao nodded. Then I'll reply to the military people. You leave before tonight and rush to our 9th military region in Qingjing. There will be someone there to receive you. It's up to you to talk to them about the rest. September 5, 3077. 7 p.m. Qingjing 9th Military Region Headquarters. Du Jun looked at the two of them with a smile. Welcome the two heroes of Black Dragon Abyss. With the two of you joining in, this operation will definitely get twice the result with half the effort. Lin Ran saluted with a military salute and smiled. Commander Du was joking. There are many talents in the army, and there should be no shortage of people with our fighting ability. The main reason why Commander Du specifically called us here is to train us and help us grow better. Du Jun smiled without saying anything. In fact, that's pretty much what he meant. As the youngest general of the Dragon Kingdom, a man of the hour in the military, and the brightest rising star among the admiral commanders, Du Jun has always been a very thoughtful person. His natural keen sense of smell told him that Lin Ran and Luo Chinan would become great talents in the future. It is even very possible that he will be the noble person in his life. He did come with the idea of nurturing the two of them and bringing them closer together. By the way, let's take a look and see if there is any chance to recruit Lin Ran and Luo Chinan into the army and take them under his command after they graduate. A child from a poor family with no power behind him and great potential is a hot commodity wherever he goes. In addition, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan have indeed dealt with those dark elves and are relatively familiar with them, so this task is quite suitable. Okay, let's stop chatting and let me tell you about the mission arrangements first. A few days ago, through the interception of alien intelligence, we discovered that the group of dark elves are still evil even after the failure of Black Dragon Abyss plan. During this period, they went to Fong Mountains, one of the 5 restricted areas in Qingjing, to cause trouble. Due to the lessons learned from the last time, in order to prevent them from causing another wave of beasts and attacking our armed fortress, we decided to send a special operations team to conduct an advance investigation. The purpose of the team is to deploy stealth radars and interference-cutting devices at key nodes in the Fong Mountains. As long as this mission can be successfully completed, not only will our military region grant each of you 10,000 military merit points and a special treasure, but Yan University will also grant you an additional 3,000 credits. In addition to you, there are 7 people in this team, 4 combatants and 3 technicians. This is the captain of this operation, Zhao Wudi from the Grizzly Bear Special Forces. You can get acquainted with him. As he said that, a big man stood up from the side and smiled honestly at the two of them. Zhao Wudi, S-level gifted King Kong body, 5th level awakener. Both Lin Ran and Lin Ran also smiled and said hello to Zhao Wudi. Captain Zhao. Zhao Wudi is a strong man who is nearly 1.9 meters tall. He is tall and dark-skinned. He has a Chinese character face that seems to have no scheming in it. He looks very annoying. Zhao Wudi smiled slightly. I have long heard about the heroic deeds of the two of you. We need to sneak into the Fong Mountains before dark tonight, so act as soon as possible. I will inform you of the specific mission details on the way. Lin Ran also nodded. Okay, let's set off. 10 minutes later, under the leadership of Zhao Wudi, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan boarded a medium-sized military aircraft. Compared with the previous ship that Luo Chinan carried Lin Ran to Qingjing, it was simply many times more powerful. Its various performances are also the most top-notch. On the aircraft, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan also met the other 6 members. 3 4th-level awakened combatants, and 3 ordinary technicians. Zhao Wudi started the aircraft and turned to look at everyone. Everyone should already know the goal of this mission. Next, I will talk about the details. There are a total of 13 locations where stealth radars and interference-cutting devices need to be deployed this time. I have marked the location, direction and trajectory on your biochip. You can just complete it step by step. It should be noted that after all, aliens and beasts are involved, so this mission is of great importance. So all actions should be taken with the highest goal of completing the mission, and try to avoid unnecessary complications. Skills that will cause a large-scale sensation should be avoided if possible. Saying that, Zhao Wudi glanced at Lin Ran and Luo Chinan. This is nothing more than Zhao Wudi being worried. That day in Heilongyuan, the light cannon that destroyed the world and destroyed the earth was already legendary in the entire Qingjing military region. If these two people are not sure enough at the moment and score twice, attracting a large number of beasts to block them, it will not be good, and they will not be able to complete the task. Lin Ran naturally knew what he was worried about, so he smiled and said, Captain Zhao, please rest assured on this point, we will be measured. Zhao Wudi couldn't help but nodded when he heard this. Very good. Then our aircraft will land at the armed fortress in the Fong Mountains later. We've already said hello over there. Someone will come to rob our camp and provide us with supplies and equipment. We can just go in. Today's mission is to rush to the first target point before 12 o'clock. After listening to Zhao Wudi's words, Lin Ran couldn't help but take a look at his biochip. The 13 target points marked on the biochip are basically at the inner edge of the Fong Mountains, which can be said to be quite dangerous. Fong Mountain Range is not like Black Dragon Abyss, which is a paradise for leveling up from the 1st to the 9th level. The entire Fong Mountains can only be divided into outer layer, inner layer and the top of the mountain. Most of the ferocious beasts in the outer layer will be below level 4, while the ferocious beasts in the inner layer may reach the highest level of 7. As for the top of the mountain, even 10th level ferocious beasts may exist. And sometimes some particularly powerful ferocious beasts come down the mountain to patrol. Therefore, the forbidden area of Fong Mountains is really not popular among the awakened people. After all, no one wants to play with their own lives. Without extremely powerful life-saving means, low-level awakened people would definitely have a narrow escape when facing high-level ferocious beasts. But as far as Lin Ran is concerned, there is probably no one in the whole world who can outperform his means of saving life. And seeing that the 7 Zhao Wudi and others all looked confident, it was estimated that they had quite a lot of life-saving means, so Lin Ran shouldn't need to worry. Now that they are sure of themselves, Lin Ran feels a little relieved. After all, in Lin Ran's heart, even if it was a last resort, Lin Ran would rather watch them die than use Kamui to save them. At most, if you can help them spread a defensive light screen, you will be completely benevolent and righteous. The existence of Kamui space is Lin Ran's greatest capital to be able to stand on the world and do whatever he wants. Apart from myself and Luo Chinan, only the dead can know this secret. Not long after, several people arrived at the armed fortress in the Fong Mountains. The local group leader also received them warmly and gave each of them a bunch of gold-level disposable consumable props as funds for this operation. Plus the props obtained from here and redeemed in school. The one-time consumable props Lin Ran has stored in his body have exceeded the 5,000 mark just for gold level and above. If he flicks the offensive props in it, the entire armed fortress will be riddled with holes. This reserve even exceeds that of many wealthy children. After all, other people are often limited by the size of their storage space and cannot carry as much as they want. But Lin Ran, not to mention the Soul Ring, which has 1,000,000 cubic meters of storage space, there is also the Kamui space, which is almost infinite in size. However, every time Kamui space is opened and closed, it consumes quite a lot of mana, and there is also the back and forth rocking of spell casting, so Lin Ran stores such things that can be used easily in the Soul Ring. It's time to get started. It's difficult to use transportation here, so we can only walk. I take the lead from the front, and the 5, 6, and 7 are on the left, right, and behind. Shaoran, Qingyan, you two can just stay in the middle and protect our technicians. Zhao Wudi said. The Xiaowu, Xiaoliu and Xiaoqi he mentioned were the 3 combatants of the 4th Order Awakeners. Lin Ran and Luo Chinan were happy and relaxed after hearing his arrangement. Anyway, the 2 of them have quite a lot of long-range attack methods. Standing in the middle, they can get a lot of hunting spots along the way. The 9 people quickly stood up in formation and began their journey to the Fong Mountains. It is worth mentioning that in order to allow the 3 technicians responsible for arranging the instruments to keep up with the speed of the large army, they were also equipped with additional mechanized transportation tools. This transportation tool has 8 mechanical legs, which can smoothly cross various terrains and move at a considerable speed. Coupled with the other mechanical props on them, it is estimated that the combat power of these ordinary people can be sublimated to the strength of the 2nd-level awakened ones. Although Lin Ran didn't know the specific prices of these gadgets, it was conceivable that such military equipment could not be cheap. Like the Black Dragon Abyss, there were no ferocious beasts at the entrance to the Fong Mountains, and the few people ran towards the first point smoothly. Lin Ran had never been here during her previous weekend outings. He still prefers places like Heilongyuan and Yunmongs where there are chances to find rare minerals and plants. Fong Mountain Range is notoriously poor. There are basically only ferocious beasts in it, and high-level ferocious beasts may be encountered in every area, which is really unpleasant. The terrain of this mountain range is not very undulating, and basically shows a steady upward trend. Moreover, the mountains and plains are filled with all kinds of trees, which are even denser than the vegetation of the rotten forest. This also makes it quite exciting for the 9 people to be able to jump up and down the trees like ninjas. However, the ferocious beasts in the Fulong Mountains are really not dense at all. Lin Ran sighed. In Black Dragon Abyss, basically every few steps you take, you will encounter several ferocious beasts, or a large number of them in groups. As for the Fulong Mountains, you could barely see 1 or 2 after running for a long time, and then they were instantly killed by a few people, which highlighted the loneliness. As it continued to deepen, it became a little more. This may be because high-level ferocious beasts like to go down the mountain to hunt their fellow beasts, and none of the ferocious beasts are divided into levels. With such a smooth journey, the few people arrived at the first point without any danger in less than an hour. Zhao Wudi, Xiaowu, Xiaoliu, Xiaoqi, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan formed a large circle of nearly 100 meters, held up a protective light curtain, and covered the 3 technicians inside for arrangement. Each of them is responsible for an area and is on guard and defense. Although there are no ferocious beasts approaching at all, Lin Ran finally couldn't help it anymore, and took advantage of this brief opportunity to glance at Zhao Wudi not far away. Captain Zhao, are ferocious beasts always so rare in the Fulong Mountains? Ever since Zhao Wudi entered the Fulong Mountains, for some reason, his face has always been heavy. I saw him shaking his head and saying, "No. A lot more than today. Today's situation is indeed a bit abnormal. I really don't know if it's because we're so lucky, or if something unknown happened." Lin Ran drove the Eternal Mangekyo and scanned the side, but he didn't find any weird energy bodies, so he could only accept this setting depressedly. It has to be said that the layout efficiency of this technician is not very high. It took half an hour to finally complete the first point. Seeing that the technicians had finished their work, Zhao Wudi nodded. "That's it for today. It's almost midnight now. It would be too risky to continue on the road. Let's rest on the treetops first and continue tomorrow morning. If it goes as smoothly tomorrow, it won't take 2 days, and we can start teaching smoothly." Seeing that no one else objected, Lin Ran jumped up to the treetops with Luo Chinan and chose a suitable area. Luo Chinan patted her thigh with a smile and whispered in a voice that could only be heard by the 2 of them. "Come, lie on my sister's lap, and she will put you to sleep." Looking at those slender and well-proportioned legs without a trace of fat, Lin Ran didn't hesitate for even a second and lay down on them. Not only that, he also took a deep breath in great comfort and put on an expression of enjoyment. This time, Luo Chinan blushed, gritted her teeth and said, "You guys are so rude. Let you lie down as long as you want. What a LSP." Lin Ran laughed. "Actually, I'm polite enough. I thought these legs were so tempting, I wanted to lick them twice. It's a pity that there are a lot of people nearby, so I feel a little embarrassed." Luo Chinyan's pretty face turned even redder, and she groaned. "How dare you be so embarrassed? You are so shameless." Oops. What Luo Chinyan never expected was that before she finished speaking, Lin Ran actually licked her snow-white thigh. It even made a squeaking sound. With her face flushed with embarrassment, she was almost pushed down by Lin Ran on the treetop because of her nervousness and excitement. "What are you doing? There are so many people." Lin Ran smiled. "Have you forgotten that I have illusions? Now I have covered our area. From their perspective, the 2 of us are just taking a normal rest. So, even if I press you down now, they won't have the slightest reaction." Hearing what Lin Ran said, Luo Chinyan's reaction became even more intense. She struggled to stay away from Lin Ran and was too embarrassed to say a word. Lin Ran saw her like a poor kitten curled up in the corner and couldn't help laughing. "Okay, although I have indeed mastered the illusion, it is not so pervert. Come back, good boy, I haven't enjoyed your lap pillow enough yet." Luo Chinyan knelt back angrily and pushed Lin Ran's head back onto her lap angrily. However, he did not expect that Lin Ran was not honest at all. The Magatama in the Sharingan rotated crazily, directly pulling the 2 of them into the Kamui space at the same time. Then it started to slide along Luo Chinyan's knees and up her thighs. Before Luo Chinyan could resist, he threw her to the ground again. It's really too wild in the tree, but in this world of 2, you can't help it. After saying that, he immediately blocked Luo Chinyan's mouth that wanted to scream. At this moment, Luo Chinyan could only make meaningless hums. Early next morning, Zhao Wudi opened his eyes. For a strong person like them, if they don't eat or sleep for several days, it's just like playing. That night, he, Xiaowu, Xiaoliu and Xiaoqi remained in a state of sleep. However, looking at Lin Ran and Luo Qingyan in the tree, they haven't moved much, maybe they really fell asleep. Zhao Wudi smiled. This is understandable. After all, young people, inexperienced, and protected by a few of them, it is normal to be a little negligent. However, it is still necessary for me to remind them. Seeing that Lin Ran and Luo Qingyan had stood up sleepily, Zhao Wudi came to their side. Brother Lin, Miss Luo. There is something I don't know whether to say or not. Lin Ran laughed immediately. In our relationship, why should Captain Zhao be so polite? But there's no harm in talking. Zhao Wudi coughed awkwardly. Actually, it's not a big deal. That is, if you perform tasks in forbidden areas in the future, you must not do what you did last night. Very dangerous. When Luo Qingyan heard what he said, her face froze, and she immediately pinched Lin Ran's thigh, and then stared at Lin Ran shyly. Lin Ran knew that Luo Qingyan had misunderstood, so he pretended to be calm and smiled at Zhao Wudi. I know what Captain Zhao means, just to remind us not to sleep like that in the future. We won't do it again. This time it was mainly because I had you guys guarding me that I was a little careless. It's really a bit imprudent. Zhao Wudi laughed. Brother Lin is really a smart man, he can understand everything. In this case, I, Zhao, can rest assured. With that said, he went to check on the conditions of the three technicians. Only then did Luo Qingyan realize that this was what Zhao Wudi was talking about, and she couldn't help but pinch Lin Ran angrily. Lin Ran was helpless. Obviously the confidentiality work is done well. Why are you still screwing me like this? Luo Qingyan snorted coldly. I want you to take care of it. This girl is happy. After saying that, he lightly jumped onto another treetop, not forgetting to glance back at Lin Ran who stayed where he was. Lin Ran could only helplessly spread his hands and keep up with the pace of the large army again. Today's ferocious beasts were also quite sparse, and a few people arrived at the second target location without spending much effort. As soon as they arrived at this place, the 9 people were all shocked. Because here, there are actually some corpses of alien races scattered here. In addition to the familiar dark elves, there are also fragments of some thunder elements. Zhao Wudi's face was not very pretty. Thunder element, is this alien family also involved? Lin Ran and others were silently scanning the surrounding scene. At this time, the young man whom Zhao Wudi called Xiaowu also spoke. But no matter what, let's continue arranging the instruments. The circumstances of this operation may be quite special. Let's try to leave as early as possible and return as early as possible. The 3 technicians obviously thought so, and soon began their work. Lin Ran kept driving the Sharingan and stared at the alien corpses on the ground. I have to say, these corpses appear quite strange. Because there are no traces of fighting around here, and there are no traces or smells of ferocious beasts, the first battlefield is definitely not here. Therefore, these corpses were most likely dumped here intentionally. As for who is doing these things and what their purpose is, Lin Ran has not yet thought about it. At least it is certain that someone is causing trouble secretly. Lin Ran stared at everything around him with twinkling eyes, thoughtfully. Soon, the technicians once again completed their tasks without any danger, and the 9 people once again approached the third location. But when they arrived at the third location, Zhao Wudi's face became even more ugly. Because, in addition to the corpses and debris of dark elves and thunder elements, there are also many human corpses here. Moreover, there are a series of green fluorescent tattoos on the skin of these humans. The fallen. Zhao Wudi clenched his fist so hard that he almost broke his teeth. The so-called degenerates are traitors among human beings, who should be punished by everyone. For power and wealth, they do whatever it takes, even choosing to pay allegiance to foreign races. They crazily slaughtered their own compatriots, plundered the wealth of the awakened people, and flattered the foreign races. This green fluorescent tattoo is proof of their identity. Lin Ran's face was also extremely heavy. Compared with those alien races, the fallen ones treat humans even more cruelly and violently. After all, with the existence of fluorescent tattoos, they can no longer survive normally in the human world. And these two devils are not very popular among the foreigners. It is normal for them to be beaten, scolded and humiliated. Almost no one would look kindly on them, and their attitude towards them was mostly to take advantage of them. Over time, the extreme characters of the fallen were formed. This kind of thing that lives in the shadows and can no longer be called human beings dare not resist their alien masters, so can't they just vent their anger on humans? In addition to being afraid of the fallen, Lin Ran also considered another thing. That is, why are the places where these corpses appear so clever? Are they all at the coordinate points they predetermined? If it was at the second location, it was a coincidence. It can't be a coincidence this time, right? Lin Ran came to Luo Chinyan's side gently and took her hand. Luo Chinan made eye contact with Lin Ran and read his worries, and she immediately became vigilant. In fact, the two of them had already begun to stare at Zhao Wudi, that seemingly honest figure. Zhao Wudi didn't seem to notice the slightest abnormality. He still urged the technicians to start their work with a stern face, while using his consciousness on the tree to detect nearby movements. Lin Ran took Luo Chinan and stood on the other side. Xiaowu, Xiaoliu and Xiaoqi were not good at talking at first, so they remained silent at this time. This made the atmosphere quite strange, as if everyone present was a stranger. So after the technicians completed their work, without saying a word, they began the journey to the fourth target point. On the way, this time Lin Ran did not join Luo Chinan in the middle to protect the researchers, but changed places with Xiaoqi at the end. Xiaoqi ran to the center, while Lin Ran and Luo Chinan stood at the end of the team. Lin Ran jumped on the tree, observing the surrounding patterns with Sharingan, and analyzing the surrounding data with the biochip. After earning a large amount of dragon coins, Lin Ran replaced his biochip with the highest end one, worth a full 100 million dragon coins. Higher level biochips have more functions and more powerful computing power. For example, the current function of this analysis environment is quite easy to use. Big data analysis shows that the outliers in Lin Ran's current environment are gradually rising and becoming increasingly out of control. The risk factor is also increasing with time. Logically speaking, Zhao Wudi, who has the same function, should also know this clearly, but he did not make any announcement at all. Therefore, keeping a distance from it for the time being is the most correct choice. Not long after, the 9 people arrived at the fourth target location again. Except for the technical staff, the other 6 people still dispersed as usual. The only difference is that Lin Ran and Luo Chinan stand together. Seeing the deserted atmosphere nearby and the busy technicians, Lin Ran's uneasiness became more and more serious. Not only does he no longer dare to close the eternal Mangekyo, but he also has a kamui in his hand at any time. If something unexpected happens later. While Lin Ran was thinking, he suddenly heard an extremely brief, almost inaudible, crack sound. The voice came and went quickly. At that moment, Lin Ran even thought he heard it wrong. But before Lin Ran could find the source of this possible sound, bursts of roaring sounds echoed through the sky, suddenly rising from all directions. Zhao Wudi, who had been silent for an unknown length of time, suddenly changed his expression. Not good. It looks like a tide of beasts. As he spoke, he jumped up and jumped to the tallest tree to observe. At the same time, Lin Ran skillfully used the combination of moonwalk and Xiao to climb the big tree. The speed was so fast that he was even slightly ahead of Zhao Wudi. After looking around, Lin Ran's face didn't look very good either. Endless ferocious beasts are raising dust all over the sky and are surrounding them from all directions. In addition to the running animals on the ground, there are also birds in the sky that cover the sky and the sun. Moreover, it can be seen from Sharingan's analysis that the average quality of these ferocious beasts has reached about level 3 or 4. What's more, there are also terrifying beasts of the 5th, 6th, and even 7th or 8th levels mixed in among them. The situation is urgent. I have passed the news of the beast riot to the military region and armed fortress. Now let's break out separately and live as long as we can. Zhao Wudi's face was full of determination, but there was no sloppiness in his running. But in an instant, he took his 3 younger brothers, Xiao Wu, Xiao Lu and Xiao Qi, and headed south. Lin Ran and Luo Chinan, who were still observing, were left behind, as well as 3 technicians who looked confused. Moreover, in order to ensure the running speed, they actually threw out a bunch of props for nitrogen acceleration, and they ran like meteors in the sky. "Are you leaving us behind?" Lin Ran didn't know what to say for a while. However, in the blink of an eye, he also made his own judgment. Sharingan hypnosis. The 3 poor technicians were directly controlled by Lin Ran and fell into a deep coma. As ordinary people, their mental power was frighteningly fragile in front of Lin Ran. If Lin Ran hadn't taken the initiative to wake him up, he would have slept for at least 10 years. Afterwards, Lin Ran jumped down from the big tree, took out 3 biological storage bins from the soul ring, and stuffed the 3 of them into them to maintain their vitality. Now it seems that there is obviously something wrong with Zhao Wudi and his 3 men. For example, the pocket watch-like instrument he was holding in his hand might be the culprit that caused the beast tide. But after all, he did not directly attack himself and Luo Chinan, and Lin Ran was suspicious without any direct evidence. Lin Ran really couldn't do anything to these special forces of the military region for a while. As important witnesses on one side, technical personnel should be retained as much as possible. What if it comes in handy in the future? Kamui. Lin ran through the biological warehouse containing the 3 people into the Kamui space, and pulled Luo Chinan towards the north. Without the use of Kamui space, it would be impossible for the 2 of them to protect the 3 technicians. So starting with hypnosis in them is obviously the best choice. Luo Chinan also immediately used her methods to put a pair of angel wings on Lin Ran and herself. "You move slowly, just go in front, I'll follow behind," Luo Chinan shouted to Lin Ran. Lin Ran smiled slightly. "Go all the way north. You lead the way. It doesn't matter if you try your best. My speed is no longer what it used to be." Luo Chinyan's eyes widened in surprise. But this was obviously not the time to raise questions, so she didn't delay. She didn't even ask why she was heading north, and just stepped on the treetops and headed north. Lin Ran used Xiao's explosive acceleration and Moonwalk's ability to stay in the air to follow closely behind Luo Chinan. At first, Luo Chinan felt that Lin Ran was a little overconfident and only used 60% of his speed. After seeing Lin Ran following closely, he slowly started to accelerate. But what she never expected was that no matter how fast she accelerated, Lin Ran would never be more than 10 meters away from her. This. It's only been a few days since I saw Lin Ran use his running speed. Why has he become so pervert? If Lin Ran could have such speed when the 2 were duel that day, wouldn't he be hung up and beaten? This man's growth rate is simply outrageous and terrifying. Compared to Luo Chinan, who was immersed in shock, Lin Ran kept his eyes firmly fixed on the front. The ferocious beasts in the north are the most densely populated area. After all, this is the road up the mountain. The main reason why Lin Ran chose this direction was to investigate clearly what secrets were hidden behind this conspiracy. What was Zhao Wudi planning after abandoning them? Who is related to the tide of beasts that surged inside the Fulong Mountains this time? With Kamui space in hand, their safety is guaranteed, so they can be bolder in terms of strategy. After all, among huge risks, there are often huge benefits hidden. Chapter 89. As for Luo Chinan, she didn't know what Lin Ran was thinking. But at this critical moment, she must have obeyed Lin Ran. Holy light cross/. As the 2 people in the beast tide moved towards each other at high speed, the first wave of handovers soon occurred. Luo Chinan was not polite and cut him off with a wave of his hand. The rich and fierce holy light immediately killed all the flying beasts in the sky that tried to intercept them. As for the running beasts under the trees, except for a very few who have long-range attack methods, the rest can only fight hard to attack the trees trampled by Lin Ran and his 2 men. However, the reason why the 2 of them, who both have the ability to fly, step on the treetops is simply to use this fulcrum to exert force and make themselves run faster. So the time they trampled on the trees didn't even last a second. In many cases, the 2 of them would have already left before those ferocious beasts hit the tree they were standing on. The behavior of the ferocious beasts on the ground hitting trees not only slowed down their movement speed, but also caused the ferocious beasts to trample on each other. The fallen trees also hindered many ferocious beasts, and some even caused small internal strife among them. With Luo Chinan waving the lightsaber in front to deal with the flying beasts, Lin Ran could take a break from the busy work and activate Wong Kai to shoot downwards. With the surge in combat power, the limit of wealth that Lin Ran can control has increased from a dozen to more than 20. With the rapid shooting along the way, you can still get a lot of hunting spots. Due to the exchange of props and natural treasures, Lin Ran's hunting points have dropped to less than 3,000. After just shooting for a while, it has already risen to 3,500 points. Not only that, Lin Ran, who is more family-oriented, also took the time to use the control ability of Op Fruit to pick up some precious materials from the ferocious beasts at any time, which can be said to be quite comfortable. However, the ferocious beasts naturally did not want Lin Ran to be so comfortable. At this time, a 5th-level bird beast with a sharp beak suddenly came out from the side and pecked Lin Ran's neck. Shave. Lin Ran changed speed rapidly in the air, dodged the peck, and then fired a tempest kick with his backhand. But after all, he was facing a 5th-level ferocious beast, so the tempest kick didn't seem to have any particularly good effect. The big bird continued to peck Lin Ran without any pain. And it even made a strange noise out of disdain. Lin Ran's face immediately twisted. Really, if I don't give you some strength, do you really think you're easy to bully? Amaterasu. The jet black flames engulfed the big bird in an instant, causing it to flutter constantly, but the fire did not weaken at all. The big bird lost all the pride it had at that time. It squeaked in the air and pecked Lin Ran like crazy. Unfortunately, Lin Ran, who relied on 2 mobile physical skills such as Shao and Moonwalk, would not be touched by it at all. Instead, he kept spinning it around. In the end, until the fire of Big Bird's life was burned out by Amaterasu, it was just a clown constantly flapping behind Lin Ran's butt. Luo Chinan, who witnessed all this with her peripheral vision, was a little helpless to complain. Who knows how this guy was able to increase his speed so much in such a short period of time, and also become a grandmaster of countless physical techniques. I can be considered a top genius who is rare to see in thousands of years, but in front of Lin Ran, I still feel full of powerlessness. It seemed that I could barely catch Lin Ran's car exhaust, but now it's extremely difficult to see his back. Lin Ran took the time to glance at their current situation. Although this beast tide is loud and dense, its thickness is relatively average. It can be said that they have now reached the end of the beast tide, and are only one step away from the final mountain top. Let's go up the mountain first. I always feel in the dark that there is something calling me on the mountain. But I can't figure out what it is. Lin Ran said hesitantly. Naturally, Luo Chinan would not object to Lin Ran's opinion. After waving her lightsaber to deal with the last few birds around her, she jumped up to the top of the mountain in a single stride. After they broke through, the ferocious beasts behind them were gradually turning their guns and reorganizing their offensive toward the top of the mountain. But the strange thing is that the moment the 2 of them stepped onto the top of the mountain, they seemed to suddenly lose sight of them and actually ran in the opposite direction. Luo Chinan frowned in surprise. Why did they leave? Shouldn't human flesh and blood be fatally attractive to ferocious beasts? Luo Chinan was telling the truth. The main reason why ferocious beasts are far more aggressive towards humans than aliens is that they love fresh human flesh and blood. As for the fallen ones, they lost the delicious food in front of this ferocious beast because of their upgraded flesh and blood. But now, after they were exhausted, they were able to resist the temptation of this delicious food and chose to give up directly. Is this still a mindless and cruel beast? Lin Ran noticed something different. The change in the attitude of the beast started when we climbed to the top of this mountain. Think about it, there must be something on the top of the mountain that makes them extremely afraid, which would lead to this. Luo Chinan turned her head hesitantly. The top of this mountain. The top of the Falong Mountains is a flat-top structure, and the actual area is quite exaggerated. Although there are various ultra-high-level ferocious beasts like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, there is no need to be so afraid, right? After all, it is relatively rare for ferocious beasts to kill each other. Not all ferocious beasts like to feed on their own kind. To them, the flesh and blood of the same kind is simply extremely rough compared to the delicacy of human beings. Generally speaking, except for the violent beasts that are extremely vicious and kill everyone on sight, other beasts will not attack easily unless they are hungry and anxious. So they tend to eat plants, minerals and other living things. Plus, this is just outside the top of the mountain, so what's the big deal? Lin Ran thought. Then, he felt a strong breath of death coming from the top of his head in the distance. On a stone pillar at the top of this mountain range, a dark blue soul body was standing quietly. I saw that its whole body was filled with surging electric current, and the outside of the soul body was a pale golden armor. The chain-like lightning in his hands was waving, and eyes like dark lanterns were watching them. In the energy analysis of Eternal Mangekyo, the power in him surged to an extremely terrifying level. Lin Ran's pupils shrank sharply. A heroic alien unit from the Thunder Elemental lineage. The so-called heroic alien unit is an alien unit that is far stronger than ordinary alien units. The most intuitive manifestation lies in their powerful domain pressure, pervert thick health bar, and powerful resistance that makes people vomit blood. Even if it is a foreign race that is much higher than them, as long as it is not a heroic unit, it must obey their orders obediently. This thing is the same as a Lord-level ferocious beast. It is similar to the boss in online games. Naturally, it cannot be compared with mere soldiers. Moreover, judging from Lin Ran's judgment, this guy's strength may have exceeded the 8th level. In other words, people like him and Luo Chinan cannot be opponents of this thing. If Kamui didn't use Kamui and resisted his blow, Lin Ran, who was standing against Susanna, would have been smashed to pieces. Not to mention that Luo Chinan's defense was far inferior to his. However, that's without Kamui. Not only does Lin Ran have it, but he has already used the transfer seal to inscribe a passively triggered Kamui on Luo Chinan and himself. As long as there is a life-threatening attack, Kamui space will immediately activate and absorb the two of them. Unless it was a literal split second without any warning, it would be impossible to go faster than Kamui. I have a very bold idea. Lin Ran suddenly showed an extremely excited smile. Luo Chinan's expression immediately changed. Are you crazy? An opponent of this level is definitely not something that the two of us can handle. Even if Sister Meow and the other 5 come, I'm afraid they won't be able to match the heroic alien race. When we humans hunt boss such as hero-level aliens or lord-level ferocious beasts, we often adopt the method of encirclement and killing. It's simply impossible to do it just by relying on one's own power. Not to mention, this thunder element is at least an 8th level existence. Let's hide in your mysterious space quickly. Lin Ran laughed. Don't panic. Who said I was going to kill him? What I want is just the thing in his hand. Luo Chinan was slightly startled, and couldn't help but glance in the direction of the heroic thunder element again. Although the thunder element discovered them, it had no intention of coming up to kill them. Maybe in his eyes, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan should have been dead long ago. As long as he pinches his fingers casually, the two of them will die suddenly on the spot. What is there to worry about with such an enemy? As for the Thunder Elemental's hand at this time, it was holding a colorful Madara ball, but it was impossible to tell what it was. But it should at least be valuable. Lin Ran smiled. The thing that I just mentioned that is calling me is the ball in the hand of this Thunder Element. I can feel that there is a constantly restless thought deep in my soul, guiding me to get it. It's really disappointing to just leave like this. Luo Chinan's face twisted. But, how are you going to get that ball? Don't tell me that you just rushed in and grabbed it so carelessly. Lin Ran shook his head. Have you noticed something unusual about this thunder element? Something unusual, Luo Chinan said doubtfully. You mean, he didn't rush up to attack us? Lin Ran smiled and said. That's right. In addition, this guy is standing on a tall stone pillar inexplicably, holding an inexplicable ball. It's very possible that he is leading some ceremony. So I can't move freely or act arbitrarily, so I have to stand still. Luo Chinan rolled her eyes. But this doesn't solve the problem at all. You want to take the ball out of that guy's hands without even mentioning how to cut him off from the ball. Even wanting to get close to him seems like a luxury, right? Even if that guy is really partially restricted, he certainly won't be completely embarrassed. He can still use some methods. Otherwise, why would those ferocious beasts be so afraid? Lin Ran suddenly smiled confidently and gently held Luo Chinan's waist. I really have a pretty good plan. Although the success rate may be less than 5%, it's still worth a try. You'll find out soon. As expected, Luo Chinan knew immediately. Lin Ran held her in his arms, tapped the ground with his toes, and ran towards the thunder elemental, almost frightening Luo Chinan. This sudden high-speed movement seemed to instantly arouse the rage of the heroic thunder element. A thunderbolt as thick as a bucket suddenly rushed out from his other hand and roared towards the two of them. Kamui. Lin Ran immediately released this skill that he had prepared for a long time. However, this Kamui shot is not used to attack the thunder element, nor is it used to protect itself. It is definitely useless to attack the thunder element. In the face of absolute crushing strength, even the space tearing will be greatly reduced. Kamui's target chose the path of the thunder and lightning. The seemingly turbulent and rushing thunder and lightning all poured into Kamui in a blink of an eye, and not a single bit was left behind. By the time the thunder element reacted and released the second lightning strike, Lin Ran was already quite close to him. However, at this current distance, Lin Ran is no longer faster than thunder elemental. It is naturally an extravagant hope to rely on the active release of Kamui to evade. However, he is still passive. The surging current naturally triggered the sealed Kamui in the eyes of Luo Chinan, who was slightly ahead of Lin Ran. When the powerful space Uzumaki was triggered, Lin Ran got in along with it. Then, Lin Ran came out without stopping, closing the distance between the two again. When the third thunderstorm came, Lin Ran repeated his old trick and used the Kamui sealed in his eyes to dodge again. After coming out this time, Lin Ran finally showed a satisfied smile. This time, Luo Chinan was not in his arms. Great, the distance is enough. Room transplantation. With the help of the short-distance teleportation effect created by Op Fruit, Lin Ran came to the side of Thunder Elemental in an instant. At the same time, he placed his hand on top of the colorful sphere held by the Thunder Element. How can I endure this Thunder Element? This colorful sphere is obviously his reverse scale. The lightning element suddenly erupted with electric current that engulfed everything, sweeping across the entire nearby area. But in the blink of an eye, everything here was annihilated by the destructive current, leaving only Lin Ran, who was motionless beside him. Lin Ran even waved to Thunder Elemental with a smile and said hello. Unexpectedly, there is a reason why I kept hollow until now. The Thunder Element was furious, and the lightning on his body became even stronger. Mortal, how dare you block the power of my thunder? But no matter how hard he tried, Lin Ran remained motionless. Lin Ran looked at the Thunder Elemental's crazy look with angry eyes, smacked his lips casually and said, "Don't be so angry. By the way, I haven't asked your name yet." The Thunder Element roared loudly. "Say my name and I'll scare you. I am the Thunder Hero and the Razor of Destruction." Lin Ran laughed loudly. "Thunder Hero Destruction Razor. Then why can't you do anything to me?" "That's it." Destruction Razor was furious again. He originally wanted to further increase the output of the thunder, but after a moment of hesitation, he cancelled the current that filled the sky. It was also the first time for him to encounter such a strange situation, and he had no idea what methods Lin Ran used. If Lin Ran was hit by lightning, it would be fine if he was not injured. But the feeling of loss that kept passing through the body, as if the two of them were not in the same dimension at all, was really outrageous. Therefore, Destruction Razor does not intend to waste his energy. He plans to wait until he finds a way to crack Lin Ran's method before settling the score with him. After all, the current ritual requires a lot of magic power. It wouldn't be good if driving away Lin Ran, that nasty little bug, delayed the important events of their clan. But what he didn't know was that the reason why Lin Ran provoked him so much was to make him use his skills crazily in the previous period. Then once Destruction Razor realizes that he can't do anything to Lin Ran, he will feel a loss of blood and stop. In this way, Lin Ran's opportunity is obtained. After another increase in combat power, the hollow time that Lin Ran could maintain increased to 1.5 minutes. Destruction Razor had just been doing crazy output for a full minute, which saved him half a minute. Lin Ran directly cancelled his hollow state at the moment when Destruction Razor regained his magical power. You know, Lin Ran's hand has always been on the colorful light ball of Destruction Razor. Room. Slaughterhouse. Relying on the cutting effect brought by Op Fruit, Lin Ran directly and temporarily severed the connection between the colorful ball of light and the Razor of Destruction. However, this cutting effect is only temporary and needs to be kept in the room field. But how does Destruction Razor know this? The moment the connection between the colorful ball of light and him was cut off, it suddenly burst into flames, and once again the sky-filled thunder light bloomed. Shameless villain, how dare you steal my treasure? Lin Ran smiled slightly, restarted his hollow with half a minute left, and successfully avoided the first wave of Destruction Razor's attack. But at the same time, because the hollow was turned on, the 7-color light ball fell from Lin Ran's hand and fell towards the bottom of the stone pillar. At this time, Destruction Razor had finally reacted. When Lin Ran was in such a state that he could not be selected, it seemed that he could not select anyone else. If this is the case, it means that the 7-color light ball is still in his possession. Destruction Razor didn't even bother to stop for a second, leaving Lin Ran floating in the air, jumping off the stone pillar to chase the 7-color ball of light. It's a pity. This is the moment Lin Ran has been waiting for. Room replacement. Seeing that he was about to touch the 7-color ball of light, Destruction Razor didn't even realize what was happening. He was horrified to find that his position had actually been reversed with Lin Ran's. As a result, the person holding the 7-color light ball turned into Lin Ran, who was originally on the stone pillar. But he, who had immediately grabbed the 7-color ball of light, returned directly to the stone pillar. Ah! Destruction Razor let out a hysterical roar of grief and quickly called for thunder, trying to knock him into the hollow state. But since Lin Ran had already thought of this tactic, how could he let him succeed? With a wave of his hand, Lin Ran grabbed the 7-color light ball in his hand. Knights never die with their bare hands. Lin Ran only hopes that this thing has properties that can be recognized as a weapon. Otherwise, the dangers in his large circle would be in vain. With the crackling sound, Lin Ran successfully established contact with the 7-color light ball at this critical moment. Success! Lin Ran was overjoyed. Get it, you, Kamui. Holding the 7-color light ball, Lin Ran immediately turned the Sharingan, trying to include himself into the Kamui space. But the only thing about this plan that was beyond Lin Ran's expectation was that the energy consumed by the mutual transfer between the Razor and the Razor was too much. Directly completely empty out Lin Ran, who is full of magic power. Even if he hadn't taken a sip of the soul ring and topped it up in the middle, Manlin wouldn't have been able to do it. Therefore, the knight behind Lin Ran not only died with his bare hands, but also fought hard to squeeze out the mana before he could be released. With his magic power extremely dry, Kamui could barely hold back this shot. So much so that the thunder from the Destruction Razor had already hit his face, and Lin Ran's Kamui space had just opened. Wow! The extremely violent thunder and lightning carried Lin Ran's body and poured into the Kamui space. In the Kamui space, the external window here was being used. Luo Chinan, who was watching the battle nervously, hurriedly rushed forward and threw a series of defensive buffs to Lin Ran. At the same time, he also used his power of Holy Light to protect Lin Ran's body. But what he never expected was that this would lead to thunder. A chain of thunder struck across the sky, instantly stunning Luo Chinan. As for Lin Ran, relying on his extraordinary resistance and vitality, he ate up all the remaining lightning energy with his body. Call! Lin Ran gasped for air. I really felt like I was being stung. Now he just feels like the thunder element running through his body is about to melt him. Fortunately, the natural spirit body was really powerful and he was able to catch it. Even Luo Chinan, who was only slightly affected, was directly stunned, which is enough to illustrate the terrifying power of this thunder and lightning. However, the series of defensive buffs that Luo Chinan applied to herself did have quite an effect. After taking a look at the 7-color light ball next to him and the peace and kindness coming from the 7-color light ball, Lin Ran felt that this adventure was worth it. However, I am really sleepy now and really need to take a rest first. After finally confirming the breath of life remaining in Luo Chinyan's body, and the depth of hypnosis that the 3 technicians in the biological warehouse had indeed possessed, it was impossible to wake up. Lin Ran changed into a barely comfortable position and fell into a deep sleep. In the real world at this time, after discovering that Lin Ran disappeared into the void with a 7-color ball of light, Destruction Razor rushed to the place where Lin Ran Kamui had evacuated like crazy. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't catch the slightest trace of Lin Ran's aura. These 2 people simply disappeared out of thin air, and they were completely clean when they evaporated. Destruction Razor couldn't believe it and searched over and over again for a long time, and finally showed an expression as if he was mourning for his concubine. This time, it seems that I have really lost the ball of light and caused a big disaster. This ball of light was the eye of the teleportation array that they originally designed to use. Originally, he was already standing on the stone pillar, conducting the establishment ceremony of the teleportation array. It seems that it won't be long before the prototype of the teleportation array will be formed, and the elite soldiers and generals arranged by the Thunder Elemental clan will be able to file in from now on. But he never expected that Cheng Yaojin would appear on the way and steal his formation eye in an almost impossible way, ruining their clan's plan. If I were to use the single teleportation array in such a dejected way to return to the Thunder Elemental clan, I would be surprised if I didn't get skinned by the King of Thunder on the spot. Thinking of the heavenly punishment that the King of Thunder might inflict, Destruction Razor was trembling all over. No, even if you dig 3 feet into the ground, you still have to find this formation eye. Even if he died, he would have to die in the Fong Mountains. The determination on Destruction Razor's face aroused his thunder in the sky, and he quickly disappeared from this area. Qingjing, 9th Military Region, Headquarters. Looking at the sad Zhao Wudi in front of him, Du Jun's face turned extremely ugly. You said that Lin Ran and Luo Chinan were lost in the beast wave, and those 3 researchers were all killed. Zhao Wudi's voice was even lower. Moreover, Shaoqi and I also detected an even more terrifying news. Du Jun gritted his teeth. Explain. Zhao Wudi took out a device like a pocket watch from his arms and handed it to Du Jun's hand. Du Jun took it and took a look, slammed the table, and said in disbelief. The Beast Riot and Positioning Device exclusive to the alien race. Where did you find it? Zhao Wudi sighed. After our team was dispersed by the Beast Tide, we found it accidentally in a ditch. This thing should be the truth behind this Beast Riot. In addition, my subordinates also cooperated with technical personnel to intercept a secret email sent by the Dark Elf clan to the Thunder Elemental clan. With that said, Zhao Wudi took out another electronic information box and placed it on the table in front of Du Jun. Du Jun clicked on the light screen above and took a look. His heart suddenly sank. He sat back on the chair, rubbed his sore forehead, and murmured. The teleportation array that supports an army of millions of thunder elements. How can this be? It's impossible for them to find the array props that support this huge energy. Zhao Wudi shook his head gently. Commander Du, actually there is. Although that thing is extremely rare, it is not impossible to obtain. Besides, these thunder elements may have modified that thing. After the changes are completed, it should still be able to barely support 1 or 2. Du Jun finally couldn't sit still. Instruct all military districts stationed in Qingjing to enter a state of first-level combat readiness. All officers and soldiers from the 3rd, 6th, and 9th military regions rushed to the Fong Mountains immediately. By the way, I will issue a reward order to all the awakened people who can be contacted currently and are near the Fong Mountains. As long as the plan of the Thunder Elementals can be successfully prevented, the military region will grant. Having said this, Du Jun gritted his teeth. Specially awarded SSS level reward. Let's arrange it. Hearing this, the officers and soldiers nearby took a deep breath. Even Zhao Wudi, who was secretly causing trouble, showed a longing expression. SSS level reward. If I had known, the resources that could be obtained from such a level of reward would probably be at the level of a country. There are countless heaven-defying things with various effects. Even a super master cannot refuse. If you don't make some heavenly achievements, it will be impossible to obtain it. And now this opportunity probably only belongs to those lucky ones near the Fong Mountains. No, you may not be the lucky one. After all, this matter is of great importance, and there are definitely top powerhouses on the Thunder Elemental side. If you go there rashly, you may die without knowing how. Du Jun sighed faintly. Although the possibility of interrupting their portal plan in advance is slim, we still have to give it a try. I just don't know Lin Ran and Luo. At this moment, a communications soldier ran to the door in a panic and shouted. Report, there is an extremely urgent situation. Du Jun's face twitched. Judging from the tone of this communications soldier, it doesn't sound like it's a good thing. Yes, why do these things always happen? Enter. Du Jun said in a deep voice. The communications soldier first took a few deep breaths, and then said with a sad face. Commander Du, just now, an extremely bad situation occurred. In our information network monitoring, about 10 minutes ago, the two Yanda special admissions students who participated in the special group, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan, have lost their biochip response. Generally speaking, the reaction information of the biochip will not be detected by others. However, when they went on the mission this time, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan also followed the army's practice and performed a signal backup of a biochip with a shelf life of 1 week. Du Jun's face changed drastically, and he immediately started shooting. What did you say? I heard that these two people have endless life-saving skills and various heaven-defying props to protect themselves. How could this be possible? After the communications soldier took another 2 breaths, he smiled bitterly and said, "We don't know what happened, but it is true. But don't worry too much, Commander Du. They may not have died now. It's possible that he just suffered an extremely severe blow, causing the biochip in his brain to be damaged. Biochips are extremely intelligent things. Even if they are damaged, they will only turn into light and flow out of the brain without harming the brain. After all, when they were installed, they turned into streamers and entered the brain." Du Jun took a deep breath. "Let's contact Yan University first. Even if people don't really die now, the situation is probably not going to be very good. If something happens to the two of them, we will probably have to prepare to face the wrath of Principal Ma and the 5 department heads." Du Jun felt a little numb when he thought of Matt, a man who could never protect his shortcomings. Don't look at it, he is currently the most shining star in the Dragon Kingdom's military. But in front of Matt, he might not even be qualified to lift his shoes. If he really gets angry at that time, no one in Long Kingdom will dare to protect him. Why did I think of inciting this incident in the first place? The two of them must go on an adventure in the Fulong Mountains. I originally thought it would be an extremely easy gold-plating job. But they never expected that the development of the situation completely exceeded their expectations. Galloping high-level beasts, millions of alien armies, and a super-large portal that may have been established. The danger level of each incident is enough to attract the attention of the entire Dragon Kingdom, let alone Qingjing. And in the corner where no one noticed, Zhao Wudi was silently suppressing a smile. Faced with such a huge crisis, Lin Ran and Luo Chinan were indeed likely to have encountered something unexpected. "You deserve it, you actually dared to run back up the mountain when the beasts were surging. Once these two people disappeared, it really saved me a lot of trouble. Otherwise, he would have to find a way to remove himself from the category of suspects, which would not be easy even just thinking about it." Qingjing, Yanyan University, Principal Room. Principal Matt and the 5 department chairs were all sitting upright with serious faces. Seeing that everyone was silent, Matt spoke first. "At least what we can know now is that the two of them are not dead yet. After all, the imprint of their souls engraved on the school is still there, and things are not as bad as the worst-case scenario. After enrolling in Yanyan University, each student will be engraved with a 4-year soul imprint in the archives. In this way, at least when they encounter something unexpected, the school will not be in the dark." Xu Lei's face did not lose its sadness. "But it's already very pessimistic. They do have quite a lot of means to save their lives, but they are obviously not out of danger. They must have a lot of emergency teleportation scrolls in their possession. Since they didn't use it, it probably means that those thunder elements have blocked the space. Not to mention, the biochips in Lin Ran and Luo Chinyan's brains have also been shattered." Lin Miao became even more uneasy when she heard what they said. "Then what are we waiting for? Let's rush to the Fulong Mountains together and rush in to rescue them. Every second they waste, the greater the danger they may encounter." Matt shook his head and said, "No, the current situation inside the Fulong Mountains is chaotic, with people from all walks of life mixed together. If you go there rashly, you may not only fail to help them, but may actually harm them. After all, if human masters gather in the Fulong Mountains, it's impossible for the foreigners to remain indifferent. It would be bad if it attracts a second wave of reinforcements from foreign races. In addition, your 8th and 9th level personal combat power can only play such a role in a melee of millions of units. Don't be too confident." Gao Xian frowned. "Then we can't just sit at home and wait, right? Doesn't that mean that all the pressure to escape is put on the two of them?" Matt smiled. Don't be afraid, they are both very capable. Since they suffered heavy damage and are not in danger of life, it means that they are absolutely very cautious at this time. You must not have forgotten Lin Ran's magical spatial ability that makes him immune to attack effects. So, we only need to rush to the armed fortress to sit down and prepare for defense. The rest is just waiting for them guy to return home. Lu Chufeng was stunned. Boss, you are really confident in them both. The aliens, ferocious beasts, and our soldiers are about to fight together over there, and you still think there's nothing wrong with them. Matt snorted softly and said, you should know better than me what kind of person Lin Ran is. The people who can kill him probably haven't even jumped out of the cracks in the rocks yet. How can you 5 common people compare? Don't mention him, Luo Chinan is the one who will beat you up if given time. You really don't have a clue in your heart. Ling rolled his eyes sadly. Boss, you really fall out whenever you say you're going to fall out. That's not what you said when you took us to those classes. Now that we have a better talent pool, we are so proud of ourselves. Is this ridiculous? Matt laughed. Okay, stop waffling, let's leave quickly. First rush to the armed fortress to suppress the army and stabilize the morale of the army. In addition, although we firmly believe that Lin Ran will not have any problems. But on the military side, they must show anger, dissatisfaction and blame, and attribute the responsibility for this matter to them. In this way, we can help them get a pretty good compensation, right? Lin Miao was speechless. Boss, your businessman style is still the same as before. In Kamui space, Lin Ran was frantically using the energy in his hands, using the knight's ability to survive with his bare hands to frantically lift the restrictions on the 7-color light ball. Luo Chinan leaned on Lin Ran's shoulder quietly, watching this magical scene. Countless magic runes are constantly falling off from the light ball, and the light of the 7-color light ball is becoming more and more dazzling. Destruction Razor is not in the same space as them, so even if the soul imprint is branded on the 7-color light ball, it cannot stop this. Moreover, his soul mark has been burned by Lin Ran's Amaterasu long ago, making it even more impossible to transmit energy. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before Lin Ran eliminated all the restrictions inside this 7-color light ball. Finally, as the last restraining chain disintegrated, the 7-colored ball of light finally revealed his original appearance. Bright, crystal clear, and eye-catching. Coupled with the 7-color glow and natural energy that are constantly flowing on this light ball, just looking at it makes people feel peaceful. What a nice view. Besides, this thing is similar to the angel heart that Sister Miao gave me back then. It's just that the one I have is golden. Is this one also the same type of special equipment? Luo Chinan murmured to herself. Lin Ran's face straightened and he stared at the 7-color ball of light. This light ball is actually not an ordinary special equipment. In addition to its original energy form, it also contains the surging power of time and space. Obviously, the Thunder Elemental clan spent a very high price to create this ball of light. So, his attributes. With a thought, its attributes appeared in front of Lin Ran. Heart of Nature, 7 attributes power of time and space. Category: Special. Quality: Legend. Equipment restrictions: only awakened persons whose talents are all Logia series and whose main energy is all natural energy can carry it. When the wearer's talent is natural spirit, additional skills too will be activated. Equipment effect: improve the wearer's attributes by 80%. Equipment special effects: additional skills 1, spirit self-healing. Provides the wearer with a life recovery effect of 1% of the maximum health per second. Equipment special effects: additional skills 2, attribute control. At the cost of consuming vitality, you can temporarily gain the ability to control one of the 7 elements of ice, thunder, fire, wood, earth, wind, and gold. If you possess the 7 elements, the ability to manipulate elements can rely on vitality to replenish elemental energy, requires natural spiritual body activation. Equipment enchantment. Enchantment skill, Gate of Time and Space. It can consume the time and space energy stored in the heart of nature and open the time and space portal. The energy consumed is judged based on the size and distance of the portal. The time and space energy will automatically increase as time goes by. To make up for it, you can also make up for it by consuming magic equipment and props. The current remaining time and space energy, 99%. Now, let alone Luo Chinan, even Lin Ran was stunned. It can only be said that the properties of this thing are simply perverted to the point of being unbelievable, and it also perfectly fits Lin Ran. Lin Ran absorbed the heart of nature into his body without even a second's hesitation. Then, he felt the majestic power of the explosion all over his body. All attributes have been increased by 80%, which is already a super qualitative change, not to mention the 3 additional heaven-defying skills brought by this heart of nature. 1% life recovery per second may be quite inconspicuous to others. But you know, the vitality in Lin Ran's body is almost 30 times that of a normal person. Under the ultra-high upper limit, this 1% is extremely precious. In comparison, the ability to manipulate attributes seems a bit useless. After all, Lin Ran has quite a variety of offensive methods. The effect of this elemental attack without special effects is estimated to be quite average. Unless you gain the ability to manipulate attributes in the future and activate the next effect that can rely on your life force to replenish elemental energy, it will make sense. Etc. It seems that I really have an elemental ability. The excited Lin Ran jumped up from the ground, and Magatama flowed in the eternal Mangekyo. Amaterasu. The dark flames rose without warning, creating an area of about 1 cubic meter. This is also the maximum magic power that Lin Ran can control under normal circumstances. But now, under Lin Ran's trial of this new ability, his life force is continuously turning into Amaterasu's fire element. This ball of Amaterasu floating in the air is getting bigger and bigger, and is expanding at an extremely fast speed. Not long after, Amaterasu was almost 10 times its original size. At this time, Lin Ran's vitality did not see any decrease. Your vitality and physical strength are really terrifying. Luo Chinan, who had seen the nature heart attribute, naturally knew what Lin Ran was doing and was completely stunned. Lin Ran rolled his eyes, first withdrew Amaterasu, and then smiled at Luo Chinan. Let's not talk about vitality for now. Shouldn't you know my endless and abundant physical strength better than others? Luo Chinan blushed and snorted angrily. Have you been doing this since you woke up? Lin Ran nodded. Otherwise, I actually only woke up a few days earlier than you. I have to say that the power of Destruction Razor's thunder is really terrifying. It almost killed me. It made me unconscious for 5 days, and you almost had 10 days. These prohibition methods are also quite subtle. If I were in the main world, it would be impossible for me to capture the heart of nature so easily. First, he can continuously add resistance energy to the heart of nature. Secondly, our position has been determined through the heart of nature. But it's a pity, in my Kamui space, there is nothing he can do. Now, the heart of nature belongs completely to me. Luo Chinan rolled her eyes. Look at your beauty. But having said that, since this heart of nature has been enchanted with the power of time and space and appeared in the hands of the heroic alien just now, then it should be explained that the purpose of his coming here is to summon the portal, right? Lin Ran nodded. Almost. But this thing should be the most indispensable prop for them to set up a large teleportation array. Although they can't use this piece of equipment, if they just use the heart of nature as a formation eye and arrange other things, it's not impossible to use it. But now that this thing has fallen into my hands, I will never give them a chance to find it again. Their teleportation plan has completely failed. It's a pity that we have made such a big contribution, but because no one knows about it, we can't get rewards. It's also very annoying. The feeling of walking in beautiful clothes at night is still quite unpleasant. Luo Chinan glanced at Lin Ran. Just be content. What reward can be better than this thing? You've already made a lot of money, okay. That is a special treasure with the ability to teleport through space. No one can refuse this temptation. Lin Ran then smiled. Yes, even if this is the only harvest, I am quite satisfied. With the space portal here, no matter where we go from now on, we can come and go freely. Let's go back to the outside world and take a look. Now that both of our biochips are damaged, people outside should be very worried. Well, of course, except Zhao Wudi. This guy is definitely planning to make us die. After saying that, Lin Ran's eyes revealed boiling murderous intent. Even if this Zhao Wudi is not the mastermind, he must be involved in this plan to some extent. Just getting involved with a foreign race was enough to kill him countless times. As long as he returns alive, he will definitely make Zhao Wudi unable to eat and walk around. By the way, we have to study Du Jun carefully. It would be fine if he really was kept in the dark the whole time. If not, as the commander of the Dragon Kingdom's military region in Qingjing, he might have caused an uproar. Kamui. Lin Ran took Luo Chinan and showed his figure from a position about a few hundred meters away from entering the Kamui space before. Using Kamui space to transfer positions in the real world is a very, very magic-consuming thing. This is only a few hundred meters away, and half of Lin Ran, whose current attributes have been greatly enhanced, has been consumed. If Lin Ran had not obtained the Heart of Nature, he would have been drained. Fortunately, the newly obtained portal contained in the Heart of Nature does not need to consume his own magic power, only his internal energy. Otherwise, Lin Ran would really be a bit overwhelmed. And thinking about it, it shouldn't be difficult to teleport long distances with something that can be used as a super large teleportation eye. The two of them had just come out of Kamui's space, and they couldn't help but start to fall into a trance. Is this still the place where they entered Kamui's space before? The surrounding stone pillars and trees were all flattened, and even a huge gap appeared on the top of the mountain. Lightning and thunder were still rushing through the gap, and the sound was very terrifying. It seems that the heroic unit of the Thunder Elemental clan named Destruction Razor became quite incompetent and furious after we disappeared. Lin Ran smiled happily. Luo Chinan nodded. It should be. And he probably hasn't left the Fulong Mountains yet. This Heart of Nature, enchanted with the power of time and space, is definitely a treasure-level thing among the Thunder Elemental clan. It is definitely unacceptable if it is lost for no reason. If he returns home in such a state of desolation. The plan failed plus the treasure was lost. If you don't get executed, you should be able to enjoy yourself secretly. Lin Ran stretched out nonchalantly. We're not afraid of him anyway. I have also used transfer seals on both of our Kamui, and another person has engraved one for us. Even if he appears in front of us now, we can easily escape. Luo Chinan shook Lin Ran's arm excitedly. If that's the case, why are you still standing there? Hurry up and pull out your time and space gate. In all my life, I have never ridden a long-distance teleportation gate or teleportation array. Lin Ran's mouth twitched. Do you think you tied up a dog? And you pulled it out for a walk? But it just so happens that I want to try its abilities first, so I reluctantly give it a look to you. As he spoke, Lin Ran opened his arms and made a calling gesture. Luo Chinan seemed to suddenly think of something and shouted hurriedly. Etc., etc. What? There is no biochip now. Can you figure out the path? Don't drive a teleportation array underground. Lin Ran glanced at Luo Chinan with an idiot look. Don't always judge me by your level of coinage. I can communicate with nature, how can I get lost? Just watch and watch. As he spoke, Lin Ran summoned 12 lavender gems from the void while listening to the sounds of wind and vegetation. These 12 gems formed a circle and turned slowly and gracefully. Purple fluorescence flickered from their bodies, gradually outlining a circular portal with a radius of about 2 meters. It's a bit slow at this speed. It took 5 minutes to create this portal. Lin Ran is not very satisfied with this speed. Luo Chinan glanced at Lin Ran helplessly. Brother, you don't think that building a portal is a very simple matter? To be honest, the speed of this thing is already incredibly fast. Anything linked to time and space consumes time and magic. Your so-called Kamui can actually complete the transfer in 1 second. It's completely a bug, okay. Don't think other time and space abilities are useless because of this. Lin Ran laughed. Then let's go first, just to test how stable this thing is. After saying that, Lin Ran pulled Luo Chinan and stepped into the purple portal together. The turbulent space-time tunnel immediately swallowed them up. After about 10 seconds, the two of them appeared at the location Lin Ran had set before. The speed of transmission is not bad. Lin Ran showed a fairly satisfied expression this time. Luo Chinan looked at the situation around her with some surprise. Isn't this still within the Fulong Mountains? Are you sure the direction is correct? Lin Ran smiled. The direction must be correct. After all, from the beginning, my teleportation destination was not outside the Fulong Mountains. The grievances with an old friend have not been resolved, how could you leave so easily? Luo Chinan didn't react for a while. You mean? Lin Ran pointed to a small hill not far away. Of course it's Captain Zhao Wudi. When I was using various natural elements to find a way out, I suddenly discovered a familiar smell. Zhao Wudi didn't leave the Fulong Mountains. Oh no, we have been in Kamui space for more than 10 days. He may have gone and come back. After all, if you don't go out and report the situation, how can you clear your suspicions? When Luo Chinan heard this, her eyes narrowed. Is it on top of that mountain? Then what do we say? Rush up and kill him. It doesn't seem too good, right? If you directly attack people from the military region without direct evidence, it might cause a big dispute. Lin Ran shook his head. It's not on the top of the mountain, but inside the mountain. There is a cave entrance there, but it was hidden by him with an illusion array. Unfortunately, he couldn't deceive me. No matter what, there must be a big problem with this person. Let's arrest him first. I will naturally have a way to interrogate him. Isn't there evidence then? Taking a step back, even if he does everything perfectly, the worst we can do is destroy the corpse and eliminate all traces. Luo Chinan then showed an excited smile. Good. I've long been unhappy with that old silver coin who has been pretending for so long. Let's go press him. The two soon arrived at the mountainside. Lin Ran, who had activated the eternal Mangekyo, easily found the phantom formation eye set by Zhao Wudi, and with a magic mirror, he successfully took the phantom formation as his own. Transfer seal. Due to the effect provided by the heart of nature that can convert vitality into elemental power, Lin Ran also had the luxury of having an Amaterasu engraved on all nodes based on Zhao Wudi's phantom formation. Finally, he planted another Kamui at the center of the formation and clapped his hands with satisfaction. It's done, let's go in. At this time, because Lin Ran had mastered the magic array, the door of the cave had been completely open to the two of them. Coupled with Lin Ran's mastery of the magic array at the door, it can be said that a good situation has been formed to beat the dog behind closed doors. At this time, Zhao Wudi was really unable to fly. The two soon walked into the cave entrance together and began to sneak inside. With the help of the eternal Mangekyo, Lin Ran was able to see through the layers of obstacles and clearly see the scene inside. In the entire cave, apart from Luo Chinan and him, there were only 10 people. They are Zhao Wudi, Xiaowu, Xiaoliu, Xiaoqi, and 6 other strangers who don't know their actual auras. It has to be said that Zhao Wudi really trusts the layer of protection system he deployed outside a little too much. At this time, he didn't notice at all that Lin Ran and Luo Chinan had stepped into his field with great swagger. It wasn't until the two of them entered the depths of the cave that they suddenly realized it. The faces of the 10 people were full of disbelief. Especially Zhao Wudi. He never expected to see Lin Ran in their secret base. Regardless of how Lin Ran and Luo Chinan, whose strength was no more than a second-level awakener, escaped from the surging beast tide. Not to mention how they found themselves without the biochip. Just the fact that the two of them could silently bypass the phantom formation outside was enough to make his brain shut down. Lin Ran took a look at the situation inside. Good guy. You don't know this by looking at it, but you'll be shocked when you see it. The cave where Zhao Wudi was located was filled with electronic equipment. Touchable light curtains, nano beacons, communication grids, scanning radars. The sheer number and density of types are simply staggering. Each of Zhao Wudi's 10 people was busy in front of a pile of equipment, not knowing what they were doing. At first glance, I thought this was the information department of some military region. Perhaps the information department can't compare to the exaggeration here. After Zhao Wudi noticed Lin Ran's gaze, he finally came to his senses. With a wave of his hand, he put all the electronic equipment back into his space storage. The interior of this cave suddenly became empty, and not much was left in the blink of an eye. Zhao Wudi still had a forced smile on his face. Lin Ran, why are you two here? After the beast wave parted ways, Commander Du and I were very worried about you. The phantom formation I set up outside to defend against ferocious beasts shouldn't have hurt you, right? I will send a good news email to Commander Du right now, telling him that you are still alive. With that said, Zhao Wudi pretended to control the biochip. Lin Ran smiled kindly and answered the question inappropriately. Your space storage space is quite large. Are you interested in sharing it with me? When Zhao Wudi heard what Lin Ran said, he naturally knew that Lin Ran had guessed that he was causing trouble, and sighed. Actually, we can be friends. Lin Ran laughed. You want to kill me and you want me to be your friend. Quickly wake up and prepare to awaken. Zhao Wudi finally couldn't bear it anymore and said angrily. Even if you two are top special recruits with legendary deeds. But it's too arrogant. Do you really think you two can defeat us? Lin Ran smiled slightly. Then you can give it a try. I can only say that there are many people who want to be my enemy, but they all regret it now. Zhao Wudi looked at Lin Ran and Lin coldly, his eyes full of disdain. Very good. Then, I have one last question. How did you find this place? This was indeed something that Zhao Wudi couldn't understand. In his feeling, Lin Ran had to do too many things to find them, and each one of them was quite impossible. But Lin Ran turned all the impossibilities into possibilities, and even cracked the illusion array and entered the cave. Lin Ran looked at Zhao Wudi playfully. Of course someone told me. As soon as these words came out, not only Zhao Wudi's expression changed drastically, but the 9 people around him also had Sima expressions. Could there be a mole? If there is a ghost inside, then all this will really be explained. In fact, this is exactly why Zhao Wudi has always been suspicious. After all, Lin Ran was just like him who had opened his eyes. He came to the door and broke the illusion array. If Lin Ran could do this without knowing it in advance, then Lin Ran would be too terrible. Lin Ran looked at the 10 silent people, knowing that they had misunderstood, and the smile on his lips became wider. He was indeed informed of Zhao Wudi's traces. Although, the thing that told him was not a human being, but a natural element. Okay, it's time to know that you all know it, and you can honestly be a sensible person. Let's go to Wangquan Road together. After reaching the gate of hell, there will still be a few companions. Before Lin Ran could finish speaking, Zhao Wudi started to move first. With the golden light all over his body and the roaring wind, he punched Lin Ran in the face. S-level talent, King Kong body. 5th level awakener. This is the intelligence provided by the previous military region. Although he didn't know if Zhao Wudi had any hidden tricks, Lin Ran didn't care about it. Now, his attributes have reached a quite ridiculous level. Zhao Wudi was obviously not taken seriously by Lin Ran. Susanoo. Lin Ran released his ultimate move without reservation. At this time, after a substantial increase in attributes, Lin Ran's Susanoo also underwent a qualitative change. Complete skeleton, solid arms, flawless defense. Compared with the previous 1 arm plus body, it is simply much more powerful. Except that the head has not yet been fully formed, it is already infinitely close to the complete first form. Susan's arm easily blocked Zhao Wudi's punch. Lin Ran smiled mockingly. Have you not eaten, Captain Zhao? Why is your Vajra body so weak and weak? Come on, let me try to punch you back. As she spoke, Susanoo swung out her other arm instantly and punched Zhao Wudi into the wall. Facing the Gundam-like Susanoo, Zhao Wudi's 9 younger brothers showed no signs of timidity. I don't know if it was to prove his innocence to Zhao Wudi, but he rushed towards Lin Ran. At this time, Luo Chinan suddenly came out from the side and struck with a spark-cursed blade, which immediately beat the 9 people to their knees. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lin Ran's Susanoo summoned the energy sword and made a powerful and heavy horizontal slash, killing all 9 of them. Zhao Wudi walked out of the big hole he had just made in horror, gritted his teeth and stared at Lin Ran, who was driving the Susan, as if he was a god descending to earth. What kind of monster is this guy? The blue skeleton that was summoned was actually so hard. In front of the blue skeleton, his own King Kong body was as fragile as paper. This is not over yet. The king's treasure. Nearly 30 royal treasures appeared behind Lin Ran at the same time, and countless swords, guns, swords and halberds fell like raindrops towards the 10 people. Zhao Wudi shouted loudly, took out a giant axe from the storage space, and desperately swept away Wang Kai who was shot in front of him. Then, he took the time to take a look at the conditions of his 9 subordinates. Without exception, all 9 subordinates have been suppressed by Lin Ran's Wang Kai, and their condition is far worse than his. Zhao Wudi suddenly felt a deep sense of powerlessness in his heart. What kind of monster is this person? Means and attributes are more pervert than the other. If I remember correctly, when I saw him a few days ago, his attributes were not so exaggerated. In just 10 days, he has grown to this extent. If given some time, would it be worth it? Thinking of this, Zhao Wuti let out a roared towards Lin Ran with a huge axe, and slashed at Lin Ran's Susan. Lin Ran struck him with the energy sword without dodging, and slashed Zhao Wuti back again. As for Luo Chinan, she was happy and relaxed when she saw Lin Ran firing Kamui from the side, 1 against 10 without falling behind. First, he used the Holy Angel stake to buff Lin Ran in a circle, and then cut to the Fallen Angel to experiment with dark spells. The 9 men who were suppressed by Lin Ran and Wang Kai were in bad luck. All kinds of strange dark energy kept raging back and forth on them. Corrosion, brittle bones, blindness, dizziness, weakness, disability, curse. Originally, when they resisted Wang Kai, they had already tried their best. Between the fluctuations and the ebbs and flows, they gradually began to lose their strength. Zhao Wuti, who was in front of Lin Ran, used all his strength to strike down with the axe without even scratching Susanoo's skeleton. Lin Ran glanced at Zhao Wuti, who was still doing useless work, and moved Susan's other hand. Finger pistol. Although Lin Ran's physical strength is high, it is more defensive. The effects of using his legs and feet to attack, such as finger pistol and tempest kick, are not very good for the time being. We can only wait and see if we can get fishing products that enhance physical output in the future. However, he is in Susan's state now. Is there any need to say more about the power of the finger pistol issued by Susan? This time the finger pistol went up, it was almost crushed to pieces by Zhao Wuti. He was beaten until his flesh and blood burst apart, and he returned defeated. Looking at the 9 subordinates, each one is even more miserable than the last. Not only was his body covered in various abnormal conditions, he had also been penetrated by Wang Kai Lian many times. At this time, they also fell into a pool of blood. They were already taking in too much air and not getting out too much. Isn't it a little too vulnerable? Lin Ran took back Susan and stepped forward to grab Zhao Wuti from the ground with a smile. Aren't you a King Kong? How can you be so immune to beatings? It seems that we can now talk about the topic you deceived me before. As Lin Ran spoke, he was preparing to imprison Zhao Wuti and interrogate him properly. But at this moment, all the golden light on Zhao Wuti's body faded away, and all his flesh and blood disappeared without a trace. Instead, there was a pile of unknown black matter and a surging demonic aura. Devil transformation. His bloodline ability is some kind of demon. Luo Chinan was startled and quickly switched to the state of the Holy Angel, giving Lin Ran a shot of divine protection. Poor Zhao Wuti thought that his plan to pretend to be severely injured, then lure Lin Ran forward, and finally counterattack him would be a great success. Unexpectedly, Cheng Yaojin appeared on the way. Luo Chinyan's Holy Angel suppressed this dark creature too hard. The halo of light that appeared on Lin Ran's body directly melted Zhao Wuti's half-stretched devil's claw. Zhao Wuti looked at his hands in demon form, which were covered in black smoke, and retreated with a howl. But how could Lin Ran give him such a chance? Shave. Lin Ran's speed is even faster than him. Before Zhao Wuti could take a few steps back, Lin Ran was behind him, blocking his retreat. High-frequency scalpel. Counter shock. Lin Ran cut open Zhao Wuti's demon body with his left hand, and held Zhao Wuti's heart with his right hand. Then, a paralyzing electric ball that shone to the extreme erupted from Zhao Wuti's heart. With the heart as the source, this electric energy instantly followed the blood and flowed into Zhao Wuti's limbs, trunk and internal organs. This time he was really electrocuted. In addition, he was seriously injured, and in the blink of an eye, he was electrocuted by Lin Ran and fell to the ground. Room slaughterhouse. Under Lin Ran's control, all 10 people, including Zhao Wuti, were lifted out of thin air and fell into a ball on the ground. Then Lin Ran casually dug out 10 alloy chains from the soul ring, and continued to use the manipulation power of op fruit to tie them up tightly. The 10 people were now a little frightened by Lin Ran's exaggeration. The azure energy body skeleton, dozens of dimensional gates with golden light flashing and flying arrows shooting out, outrageous speed, mysterious flesh-cutting manipulation ability, thunder hands agitated by electric energy, and cracking holes quietly the unknown skills of the external illusion array. Why is this person so strong? Zhao Wuti smiled bitterly and looked up at the top of the cave as if resigned to his fate. The gold content of the heroes of Black Dragon Abyss is indeed extremely high. You said before that everyone who is your enemy will regret it. I didn't believe it at first. I didn't expect that the clown would be myself. Lin Ran smiled. But it seems you haven't given up your efforts yet. Are you secretly sending information out? Now you are stalling here to wait for reinforcements. It's a pity that this method has long been useless. Don't you forget that the magic array you deployed outside also has the function of blocking signals. It was originally arranged like this to prevent myself from being detected. But that phantom formation has already been used by me. So, all the messages you have sent since I entered the door have been intercepted by the magic array. Having said this, Lin Ran glanced at Zhao Wudi, whose face had lost all color, then smiled and said, "Yeah, but thanks to your attempt to contact the outside world, I learned a lot of incredible information." Hearing what Lin Ran said, Zhao Wudi's expression brightened instantly, and he couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. You intercepted everything." Lin Ran smiled. The old god was thinking. "Let me see it. First, I sent an email to the Grizzly Bear Special Forces of the military region, saying that they were going to send reinforcements. It seems that the entire Grizzly Bear Special Forces should be under your control, right? I sent another message to Xu Zhang from the Xu family in Jiangdong, saying that the two of us are actually not dead. Awesome, this should be the real reason why you want to deliberately kill us with a wave of beasts. Xu Zhang found you first. Okay. Well, I also sent a short report to an organization called Yi Yun, saying that O7's secret base was exposed. This should be the secret organization you are truly loyal to, right? Oh, you are still in contact with a foreign race like Thunder Elemental, and you want to ask for help from the Destruction Razor. Okay, boy, the breadth of your business scope is really surprising. Every time Lin Ran said something, Zhao Wudi's face darkened. At the end of the sentence, Zhao Wudi had a determined look on his face. Regardless of the other things, just the fact of liaising with foreign races for profit is probably enough to kill him many times. What's more, he is also the captain of a military region's special forces. If things get serious, many officers and superiors may be implicated. Zhao Wudi looked at the 9 brothers around him and sighed. Now that you know everything, what are you waiting for? Take our heads off and take them to the military district to claim credit. Lin Ran walked around a few people calmly and stretched out comfortably. If I wanted to kill you, you would have separated your heads long ago. Since I haven't done anything yet, don't you understand what I mean? Zhao Wudi is also a smart man and immediately understood what Lin Ran meant. You want to know these secrets about us? Lin Ran nodded. This is also the only way you can survive right now. Xiaoqi, who had been silent beside her, suddenly said. Now we are at an absolute disadvantage. Even if we tell you, we may not be able to survive. You can kill people and silence them at any time. We have no way of resisting. Lin Ran sneered. You also know that you can't resist. Then where do you get the negotiation capital? I am giving you orders, not discussing with you. If you don't accept it, then go die. With my illusions and Qingyan's dark spells, even if you die, I am confident that I can turn you into spirit puppets, and you can still know everything. It's a bit troublesome, but at least it's safe, right? As for you, you have lost your only chance to survive. Moreover, my soul will be bound by me for the rest of my life. How? As soon as these words came out, Zhao Wudi and all 10 people fell silent. Yes, in front of Lin Ran, who is absolutely powerful and has endless methods, they have no room for resistance at all. Even the value of being used is only to save Lin Ran the trouble of making spirit puppets, which is a pitiful little thing. Zhao Wudi's eyes flashed, and he gritted his teeth and said, Okay, I'll tell you everything. When I finish, you can take my life back to the military region to receive the reward. I just ask that you can let go of these brothers of mine. The other 9 people were all shocked, and all of them lost their voices. Brother, Lin Ran waved his hand impatiently. If I say I'll spare your life, I will naturally spare your life. Stop playing with me about brotherly love. I won't accept this. If you are still here to stir things up later, don't blame me for going back on my word and bury you all together. Besides, my illusion has enveloped you all, so don't lie. Otherwise, you will have to meet me again in the form of a spirit puppet. The 10 people's faces suddenly stiffened and they closed their mouths angrily. Good guy, don't eat soft or hard. It seems that his sensational plan has failed. In front of this person, I really have no choice but to give up all my cleverness. Zhao Wudi also felt waves of numbness in his scalp. This Lin Ran's level of difficulty is extremely rare in his many years of experience. Of course, this doesn't just refer to Lin Ran's strength, as well as his means, character, resourcefulness and agility. He doesn't look like a young boy who just went to college at all. Instead, he looks like an extremely difficult old fox. It's just as Lin Ran said. Anyone who chooses him as an enemy will definitely have a lifetime of nightmares. Unknowingly, Zhao Wudi was already sweating for Xu Zheng. After the psychological defense collapsed, Zhao Wudi had no reservations at all and told Lin Ran everything he knew. It turned out that the organization called Yi Yun, where Zhao Wudi stayed, was a notorious ultimate mercenary corps. They have only one principle in doing things, that is, they only recognize money and not people. As long as you have enough money, there is almost no job that they would not dare to take. Destroy organizations, assassinate leaders, exterminate wealthy families, massacre compatriots. Even colluding with foreign races, triggering a tide of beasts, betraying intelligence. As long as they can make money, there is nothing these daring gangsters dare not do. Although they are not as notorious as the degenerates who are despised by everyone and join other races, they are basically existences that everyone shouts about. This time Zhao Wudi accepted the task from Xu Zheng and plotted to kill Lin Ran. That's why he persuaded Du Jun, pretending to provide a simple, easy and rewarding job to please Lin Ran and Luo Chinan. Du Jun originally wanted to get closer to Lin Ran and Luo Chinan as soon as possible so that he could board their ship in the future, so he immediately agreed to Zhao Wudi's suggestion overjoyed. And Zhao Wudi happened to have another mission to assist the Thunder Elemental clan in opening a large portal. So he combined these two things and took Lin Ran and Luo Chinan to the Fulong Mountains, intending to eradicate them with the help of aliens and beasts. The machine he caused the beast wave was personally given to him by Destruction Razor. And because of an unfounded reason, the three researchers brought here were complete cannon fodder and became victims that no one cared about. But they never expected that Lin Ran and Luo Chinyan's fighting power was so terrifying. Not only can he break out from the raging beast tide, but he can even survive several rounds under the hands of the Destruction Razor. Zhao Wudi didn't know that the 7-color light ball was taken away. After all, there was no way Destruction Razor would publicize such a shameful thing. But he saw the thunder emitted by the Destruction Razor from far away in the horizon. Combined with the news that the biochips of the two people in the military region were damaged, it was confirmed that the two were dead. Your courage is indeed a bit scary. Lin Ran sighed. Colluding with aliens to release the portal and murdering the top genius special recruit of Yan University in the Dragon Kingdom. The consequences of the former are likely to be the fall of the armed fortress in the Fulong Mountains, and the bloody battle between the garrison and the foreign army. In the end, it is unknown how many people will be killed or injured. The latter will cause the Dragon Kingdom to lose 2 rising shining stars, leading to the loss of the Dragon Kingdom's future potential. The truth is that each one is more outrageous than the last. Zhao Wudi had already spoken out, so naturally he had no intention of hiding anything, so he said coldly. No way. In this dangerous and ruthless world, all I can trust is money. I often take orders for killing foreigners and slaying ferocious beasts. Otherwise, how could I possibly become the captain of the special forces in the military area? I'm not a kid from a wealthy family, and I don't have any great ambitions, but I have a lot of brothers to support. They have all suffered humiliation and cold looks. Lin Ran coughed suddenly. That's enough. I'm not interested in your story at all. Let's get down to business. Do you have any valuable information? If there is any, please tell me immediately. Don't let me dig into your information database and find it myself. Otherwise, you will still have a dead end. Zhao Wudi waved his hand, and all the information equipment that had just disappeared in front of Lin Ran appeared here again. There is indeed one last and most critical thing. Although I feel that you two are not capable of solving this matter. Other than that, there's nothing else. If you don't believe it, just go and see it for yourself. Lin Ran raised his eyebrows. What's the matter? It's really difficult to stump us. Zhao Wudi looked at Lin Ran's confident face and said solemnly. It's not for nothing that we chose this location as the location for one of our secret bases. Here, there is a teleportation platform set up by the Dark Elves, but it has been damaged. Without the establishment of a new teleportation array, it won't even be used. And those Dark Elves have been killed by the Thunder Elements who are attacking them. The Thunder Elements are doing this to intercept a special research of the Dark Elves. What we can know now is that if this teleportation platform can be re-established, the channel it communicates with will lead to the 10th level of the Black Dragon Abyss. Lin Ran glanced at Zhao Wudi in surprise. The 10th level of Black Dragon Abyss. Is there really a 10th level in Black Dragon Abyss? Zhao Wudi nodded. According to the research of the Dark Elves, there is indeed a 10th level in the Black Dragon Abyss. Moreover, there is a treasure of great value stored in the 10th level of Black Dragon Abyss. That's it, a complete black dragon corpse that has absorbed the essence of the dragon source for countless years in the Black Dragon Abyss. This news really shocked both Lin Ran and Luo Chinan. After the two looked at each other, Lin Ran turned to look at Zhao Wudi. Where is the teleportation platform? Zhao Wudi smiled bitterly. The teleportation platform is at the bottom of our cave. At that time, when the Thunder Elemental clan was encircling and suppressing the Dark Elves wanted to prevent the Thunder Elementals from getting the teleportation platform. While destroying the teleportation array on the teleportation platform, I used a random teleportation scroll to randomly teleport away the teleportation platform. The Thunder Elemental clan is naturally quite unwilling, and is frantically searching for traces of the teleportation platform in the Falong Mountains. However, due to a stroke of luck, my brothers and I learned all this from an intelligence dealer with a thunder element, and discovered the existence of the teleportation platform in this cave. It is a pity that we have not been able to master the space transmission technology. It is too high-end. Not to mention, the area that needs to be teleported is still the 10th level of the Black Dragon Abyss, the distance is so far away and so dangerous. So, we sold this information to Yi Yun and helped Yi Yuan organize to guard the teleportation platform. Originally, I planned to sell this thing to Destruction Razor after Yi Yun's people came, and let them eat dog. But now that you are here, I will tell you this thing again. And it looks like there's no chance to tell Doomrazor again. Lin Ran was a little speechless for a while. Okay. People in your line of work are really tight-lipped. The one who travels east and west is faster than the old lady at the entrance of the village. Zhao Wudi could only cough twice in embarrassment. Forced by life, forced by life. Lin Ran nodded and glanced at Zhao Wudi's communication equipment. After making sure that no information was missing, he said, "Okay, this information is quite valuable, so I won't kill you. I can help you keep the secrets of mercenaries like you. But as a price, you have to help me investigate intelligence and carry out tasks for free when I need it. And there is one thing that needs to be deposited with me first." Zhao Wudi was stunned. What? Lin Ran showed his signature kind smile again. "I will take your heart first." With that said, Lin Ran waved his hand, and the room field immediately unfolded. Scalpel. Aha! After several soft sounds, the chests of Zhao Wudi and 10 others were all cut open. Then, their hearts flew out. These 10 hearts were taken out together with the muscle tissue near the hearts, and they were all sealed in a crystal-clear mysterious cube. And where their hearts were taken out, there were diamond-shaped wounds. Scalpel. Lin Ran released this skill for the second time. Aha! There was another soft sound, and the diamond-shaped wounds on the chests of the 10 people had also healed. The only difference from before was that their hearts were beating continuously in Lin Ran's hands. Seeing this strange and penetrating scene, the expressions on Zhao Wudi's 10 people's faces were extremely bad. Lin Ran's extreme pervert methods once again exceeded their expectations. This ability to remove a heart out of thin air and keep it alive is unheard of, and simply unthinkable. Lin Ran, on the other hand, behaved like a normal person, acting as a circus acrobat, constantly throwing the cube containing the hearts of 10 people up and down in his hands, making them form a circle in the air. Looking at the 10 people staring at him with fear, Lin Ran smiled. "Don't worry, putting your heart here with me will only make you more energetic. I will treat them well. This thing in my hand is exactly the same as it is in your chest, and the blood supply will be guaranteed. This is just to ensure your loyalty. After all, if we cooperate with people like you and don't have any countermeasures, I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep well at night." After Zhao Wudi took 2 deep breaths in horror, he realized that although he was missing his heart, it didn't seem to be any different. The only difference was that he could no longer feel the beating of his heart. But other than that, there really don't seem to be any big problems. Normal breathing, normal blood transfusion, normal movement. It was as if his heart had just changed its position, but it was still working for him. This kind of weird discomfort that makes people go crazy is really scary. Devil, you are simply a devil. One of the 9 men, a young man who seemed to be quite young, was the first to howl uncontrollably. Looking at his face, he looked completely frightened. Zhao Wudi scolded him first. Mistress, calm down. Then he looked at Lin Ran, gritted his teeth and said, Your Excellency's methods are indeed heaven-defying, I admire you greatly. As everyone knows, what should we do to get our heart back? Lin Ran smiled. Well, I'll tell you later. Let's rest for a while, don't resist. Otherwise, I can't guarantee whether you will be turned into idiots. As he spoke, Lin Ran's consciousness was divided into 10 parts, each invading their different spiritual worlds. Zhao Wudi and others had been completely impressed by Lin Ran. Naturally, they did not dare to resist at this time, so they were controlled by Lin Ran. So, like those researchers, they fell into a deep sleep. Let's go. Let's go to the 10th level of the Black Dragon Abyss and take a look at the legendary dragon corpse. Lin Ran's expression was quite excited. Luo Chinan looked at him in surprise. But didn't Zhao Wudi just say that the teleportation array is in a damaged state? Could it be that your heart of nature can also repair the teleportation array? Lin Ran shook his head. It is naturally impossible to repair the teleportation array. However, relying on the orbit determination effect of the spatial coordinates brought by the teleportation array is enough for me to lock the teleportation position on the 10th level of Black Dragon Abyss. At the same time, with the help of the residual space energy of the damaged teleportation array, the loss of space-time energy in the heart of nature can also be greatly reduced. Otherwise, we may not be able to afford the energy he consumes over and over again. Luo Chinan also became excited when she heard this. Then what are you waiting for? Let's go quickly. The Black Dragon corpse is definitely full of good things, let's go take a look. Besides, with your Kamui space here, we might be able to just bring the whole dragon back. Lin Ran nodded, and soon took Luo Chinan and continued walking deeper into the cave. As for Zhao Wudi and others, let them sleep here first. Anyway, there is a phantom formation outside that I have injected with Amaterasu and Kamui to protect it, and it is impossible for ordinary people to enter. Not long after the two walked side by side, they discovered the damaged teleportation array that Zhao Wudi mentioned at the bottom of the cave. As Guo Junye said, the spatial patterns on this teleportation array have been seriously damaged. It is obviously impossible to rely solely on its power for teleportation. But, Lin Ran decisively used the power of time and space in the heart of nature and began to communicate with the other side in the distance directly through the spatial coordinates positioned by the teleportation platform. After waiting like this for 5 minutes, Lin Ran finally showed a satisfied smile. Let's go and see what the so-called 10th level of Black Dragon Abyss looks like. As he said that, a lavender portal opened in front of the two of them. Walk. Luo Chinan was also very excited, following Lin Ran and stepping into the portal. Following the passage of time and space tunnels, the two of them soon arrived at a dark valley bottom. However, Lin Ran, who possesses the eternal Mangekyo, and Luo Chinan, who can activate the fallen angel form, have quite good night vision abilities and they can still see the appearance of this place clearly. The 10th level of Black Dragon Abyss is not as vast as his 1st to 9th levels, but rather quite small. Surrounded by a circle of dark brown soil, there is a bottomless pond in the middle. Apart from that, there is nothing else. And at the bottom of this pond, there was a genuine black dragon corpse lying there. The two of them quickly ran to the edge of the pond and looked at the dragon corpse below. Lin Ran could clearly sense that this dragon corpse was indeed a dead black dragon, and it should have been dead for many years. But now, its body is continuously recovering its vitality, and there is a vague smell of rebirth. Luo Chinan picked up a ball of water from the pool and couldn't help but gasped. This water contains pure and innocent dark energy, which is helping the dragon corpse reshape its vitality. Thinking about it this way, this pool of water should be the Dark Elf clan's most precious treasure, the Fountain of Darkness. Not only that, they also placed a vitality spring of the dark fountain at the bottom of the pool, which can continuously replenish the vitality of the dark fountain. This is the ultimate limit. Although it is impossible to help the dragon corpse usher in a true resurrection, it is enough to turn him into a mindless thug and puppet. The dark elves are really generous. Our trip, even if we just bring back these fountains of darkness, will definitely be a worthwhile trip. Not to mention, there is a black dragon corpse here. Luo Chinan was drooling as she spoke. The fountain of darkness and the black dragon corpse were obviously fatal to her in the form of a fallen angel. When Lin Ran heard this, his heart suddenly moved. Then tell me, do we have a chance to intercept this black dragon? The combat power of this dragon corpse is absolutely immeasurable. If it could use its full strength, I'm afraid even the 10th level would be a bit lacking. Luo Chinan was stunned. You actually have a bigger appetite than me, and you actually want to take over the plans of the Dark Elves. This is unlikely. According to my theory, the way the Dark Elves control this dragon corpse is to use a powerful group of mages to jointly cast corpse manipulation spells. And the vitality injected into the dark dragon corpse in advance can also greatly help them reduce their magic power consumption. Although I can also use the spell of manipulating the dead, it is absolutely impossible for me to do it with my magic power alone, it is too mana consuming. Moreover, this dragon corpse needs to be soaked in the fountain of darkness when it is not in use. How is it possible to do it all? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.